stop by for the Nintenbyte. You got the Triforce and it feels right. Like Bowser, you can listen all night, singing peaches until the sunlight. Summer shoots her beam so bright. Master Hand always brings a fight. Catch 'em all and use that fire blast. Put the soul back to visit your past. Welcome to the Nintenbyte Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Nintenbyte Podcast, episode 33, I believe. Unless I can't count, I have no idea. I have that issue some days. We're going to have a banger show for you today. We're going to go over everyone who's here and our guests and all of that. Man, we got some Switch 2 stuff. Dude, like every week we have Switch 2 stuff, right? Like, let's just be honest. Every week there's some sort of rumors and stuff we're talking about with Switch 2. But like, this is big stuff this week. Like the culmination of everything, accessories, Nate the Hate now talking about stuff when he's been silent forever. We have literally a actual like 3D, maybe 3D printed, I don't know, some sort of model that a YouTuber got from an accessory maker. So we actually get to have possibly a really good idea what this thing even looks like from a physical standpoint and some of the changes Nintendo's made. Oh my gosh, we have so much to go over, including a new release date. But not just a release date. How about an event? You know, the big January event? Looks like we might know when it's being planned to happen. Oh, baby. We got a lot of stuff to go over. And that's not all. We could just make this a Switch 2 cast. We got all the topics as well. We're going to have a good time. Remember, guys, the top overall, like biggest super chat of the entire stream gets to choose our fourth topic. So we don't even know what it is because that's a chat choice over there. And you can also super chat in smaller super chats amounts and try to get like Q&A questions in for the very end of the show that we kind of rapid fire around. That being said, let's go ahead and welcome in our guests. Let's start with the man who was supposed to be on last week, but did make it on this week. Nick with no K.
That's me. I felt so bad that I had to message and be like, oh, I can't make it. I had something pop up like the day of, and I was like, and I couldn't get out of it either because it was a family thing. But I was like, this week, I'm like, no, nothing will stop me from coming on tonight. So I'm here. Always excited to talk about Nintendo. It's been a hot minute since I've been on. Last time I was on, I was under 1,000 subs, and I had to leave early through that episode. And I went back and I listened to it, and I like heard you guys keep saying like, oh, he's at like 995. You got to keep going. 5 more, 4 more. And then I woke up that morning and I was over 1,000, which was just like so crazy to wake up to after going to bed being at like 980. But now I am proudly at, what's the number right now? Right now, 2791. So
nice. Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Really going on the up and up. So it's just been content, just working on stuff. I did start streaming on Twitch, playing video games because I like playing video games and I needed an outlet for that. So that's what I've been into. And trying to find time to play Mario and Luigi, but alas, that time just slips away.
It happens. Oh man, glad to have you on the show. I was gonna say you bitch out 2 weeks in a row, man. I don't know, man. I'll be hitting those DMs pretty hard next time and be like, you motherfucker. That's all right, man. Glad to have you on. I'd rather people tell me ahead of time than just not show up. Ooh, Sunbro Nation.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me back, Nate. Looking forward to discussing all things Switch 2 as usual. One day we'll get the reveal trailer to talk about, but I will say, to your point, it feels like the accessory manufacturer floodgates opened, but then we also have this event that is going to, that's the more exciting thing.
Oh yeah, I mean the event's the real big thing. Like that's what your games.
Because that's the games. That's, you know, it's cool to talk about hardware, but I do feel like I will be shocked if all of this stuff is a curveball and anything is very different than all the leaks we've seen so far. Like the larger display, everything that we've seen from the accessory manufacturers at this point. I think that's loosely what we're looking at for the console. So that part's super exciting. But when we talk about the launch lineup and what's possible in the first year of the Switch 2 from a software perspective, that's like gonna take my hype to a whole nother level. So excited to get into it tonight.
And one of those games we'll be talking about for one of our topics today. Hopefully one of those games. We technically don't know. I think it's a safe bet. It's within 12 months, but we'll see. Eric, wait, is that best freaking uncle ever that I just noticed? That's what you're wearing as a shirt?
Yep.
I thought I was the best freaking uncle ever. Damn. Damn it. Different
Shirt don't lie.
Shirt don't lie.
bitch.
Shirt don't lie, bitch. Damn it. That's all right. Welcome, Eric. How you doing, man? As you sip that
Same
shirt.
old, same old.
I'm trying this Fanta
Oh, yeah.
haunted apple Beetlejuice. I don't know. It was handed to me today. It's kind of weird. I really don't know how to. It's not a good flavor, but I will drink it because I opened it.
Did you guys watch the new Beetlejuice?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Neither way.
I haven't.
You mean now, isn't it?
It's on HBO now.
Yeah. So I'll probably
It's on the home box office.
on the home box. It's called Max. Remember, it's called Max now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that name. Man.
Yeah, I know. HBO was the better one. Why'd they get?
Yeah, like if you go back to growing up, the HBO and Cinemax, right?
Mhm.
And HBO was always far superior. We all know that. So
Yeah.
why do you go with the Max name, right?
And
I
I
don't
can
get it.
confirm nobody knows what that is, because if you ask, like, people still call it HBO, even though it's Max now. Everybody's like, yeah, I have HBO. I've talked to people. Do you have Max? And then they just don't even know what I'm talking about. And then you say, HBO, and they're like, oh yeah, I have that. And
Oh, yeah.
it's
it was
like-
a
yeah.
terrible rebrand. Like,
you
nobody
literally
knows the name even
HBO
changed.
was a huge brand. Cinemax was really only known as Skinamax.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
why the hell did you keep the Max brand
Yeah,
when
right.
HBO was so much bigger?
Yeah,
I don't-
That was a mistake.
Oh, it was HBO Max for a little bit. Fine, and you wanted to drop one of them, so drop the Max.
Exactly.
Just-
Has
whatever.
there ever been like like a big rebrand like that where people call it by the new thing? Like it's
Twitter?
been over
Yeah,
a
like,
year.
yeah.
We all still call it Twitter. Like
Yep.
nobody's
Mhm.
calling it X.
I
Nobody's
love-
calling
Eric
it
I love
HBO
when-
Yeah, I
Max.
slipped last week.
Eric slipped last week and called it X. I think like 10 years from now, most people will eventually start calling it X. But it's just really hard for those of us that were on it for so long as Twitter
Mhm.
to like, yeah, we know it's never going to be called that again. But I'm sorry, I still call them tweets.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You call them like other like posts or zeets. No, they're tweets.
It's just like so ingrained in your
Yeah.
brain. Like that's just how you're wired.
But
And
here's
you
what's going
spend
to
all
happen.
that time on it.
We're going to be the old men yelling in clouds in 5 years because all the youth will be like, oh, yeah, I'm having a great time on X. And I'm like, Twitter? You okay, Grandpa?
Okay,
I'll do
boomer.
it.
Wait,
I don't
Whatever. Anyways, Thunderstash Gaming's up in here. How's it going, man?
Great. Staying busy. Staying very busy. Housework. Metaphor.
NBA on NBC.
Yeah, I'm excited for that next year. But yeah, just staying busy, man. I'm like 50 plus hours into Metaphor. Was on Monday.
Mm.
My lady left for work. You know, we get up early. We're up at like 4:30. She heads out the door around like 5:40, right? And I'm already playing Metaphor at like 5:15, right? She gets home, I'm still playing Metaphor. I haven't moved. Like, you know, outside of getting a drink or use the restroom. I ended up putting in, I think on Monday, like 14, maybe 15 hours. Just straight.
Oh,
And
jeez.
it felt like nothing.
Well, that's the way those games go.
That's a good sign though, always when it feels like nothing, man. So yeah, just chipping away at that.
Yeah, see, it's always a good sign when it feels that way because it means the game's amazing.
Mhm.
But then also it means I'm getting yelled at when I tell my fiance, oh, I just started, honey. It's been 12 hours. Oh, shit.
Yeah,
I just-
I prepped her. I prepped her.
I
in the
got to
beginning.
keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is going to be over 100 hours, just so you know.
Awesome. And what's up, guys? I'm the host with the most, Nintendo Prime over here. You guys know what's up at this point. All right, let's get into our topic roulette. We got our 3 hosts here, so let's get our 3 topics selected. I don't even know why I bother at this point. I know what topic I'm getting stuck with.
Yeah.
But you know what? Thunderstash, I'll let you choose for. I already know what topic I have, so I'll let Thunderstash choose between the other 2, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take what's the future of Mario Kart?
There we
Nice.
go.
Fair enough.
That's a good one. So, Eric, which one are you taking, buddy? I wonder.
Because I know a whole lot about the Switch 2 rumors and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm going to do the Farmer Retro Studios dev gives insight into Nintendo's dev cycle.
It's okay. There's like videos and shit I have to show for the Switch 2 one. So I guess I have the Switch 2 topic, guys. The headline topic of the show. Yeah, I got it. And it actually deserves to be the headline topic this week. Like, it's legitimately a lot of stuff to talk about. But we're not going to jump into that right away. We are going to go into a slight Switch 2 topic, though, because Thunderstash, what the hell are we talking about with Mario Kart?
Okay. So, obviously, guys, it's been such a long time since we've got a new Mario Kart. I mean, we're going back to the Wii U. And it's just crazy because in a few months, we're going to be 8 years with the Switch. And we're still playing, of course, the Mario Kart that came out on Wii U. So it's wild. But it makes you think, right? Nintendo's had such a long time to cook something up. Because obviously Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it came out 1 month after the Switch. So it came out in April. And it was meant to hold us over until the real Mario Kart for Switch comes out. But because so many people, of course, didn't buy the Wii U and never played it, it sold like crazy. We all know the numbers. What is it at? Are we at 70? Are we at 70 million yet?
If you include the Wii U, it's probably right there.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought including the Wii U, it's about 70 million. And then, of course, it's a pack-in title in one of the bundles right now for the Switch.
71 million if you include Wii U.
Oof. So who knows? Who knows, right? After the holiday season's over and we get the numbers for the holidays, it could be a 75. This is absolute insanity. So look, I don't think any of us can blame Nintendo for continuing to ride this out, because it's just been so popular and it's great. But I do remember when Nintendo first mentioned the booster course pass. They had said that, hey, we're going to be doing this booster course pass. There's going to be obviously 48 courses, bringing the total to 96. But when they first announced it, they made sure to let the fans know that, hey, don't worry, we're still working on the other Mario Kart. They said they were taking part of the development team. If I recall, I thought they said half to work on the booster course pass, while the other half continues to work on the new Mario Kart. So all I'm saying is it's going to be over a decade of time. What Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U came out in, was it 2013 or 14?
Would have been 14, I think, because I think we hit the 10-year anniversary of it. I have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure we hit the 10-year anniversary of it this year.
So next year, then, we'll be at 11 years, which is just insane. So for me, this has been my favorite Mario Kart. I think for a lot of people, this feels like kind of peak Mario Kart. I think, too, even when we look at a game like Smash Brothers, we've talked about it before. It really lives up to the ultimate name. It's like, I don't know how you're going to do better, but we'll find out. But today, let's talk about what are we going to do with Mario Kart. And I do have some ideas. I think the most common kind of idea that I've always had is that I look at the booster course pass and I look at the DLC, right, of the Triforce Cup, the Egg Cup, the Animal Crossing Cup, and the Bell Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually pulling it up earlier again, just kind of refresh a little bit. So the Egg Cup had the Excite Bike Arena, which I really liked that track.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I love that.
Yeah, because it's like, dude, there's jumps everywhere. It's straightforward, but it's super nostalgic. The music is great because it's the classic Excite Bike music. That's a really fun one. I like it a lot. So that was in the Egg Cup. Then we also had Mute City from F-Zero. So 2 callbacks right there to other racing games in Nintendo's IP history. And personally, I really enjoyed the F-Zero tracks, but there's another track that I'll talk about in a second that I enjoyed even more. Then we had the Triforce Cup, which gave us Hyrule Circuit. So now suddenly Mario Kart has a Link in it. Not only that, but dude, we're racing through Hyrule in a Mario Kart game. So that was really cool. And that just kind of shows you what direction that I think we're probably going to be going in, but I'll keep going. So then we have the Crossing Cup, of course, the Animal Crossing. You know, that was a shout out to Animal Crossing with the name. That was the one with the Animal Crossing track. It was the 4th track, and that was the one that could change seasons, right? We had 4 different seasons there. Very cool. Enjoyed that one. And then we had the Bell Cup. And in the Bell Cup, we had Big Blue, which that is one of the coolest, I think, Mario Kart tracks. It felt like a roller coaster and a water slide mashed up, but F-Zero with F-Zero's music and super fast. Like, that one was so cool. I love that track. So we had all those great tracks there, but the biggest thing here is that these are all from different Nintendo games. And with that, we got a ton of Nintendo characters that aren't just in the Mario verse. So, of course, my idea is what I'm thinking, and I'm sure you guys are thinking it too, is that this is, I don't think the name ever changes, okay? I think it's always going to be Mario Kart. I don't think it's going to be called Nintendo Kart, but it could. I just don't really think that's going to happen because Mario Kart is a brand and it's killing it. Why rebrand it with a name if it's going to be the same? But what I do think is going to happen, just in the same way with like Super Smash Brothers, right? You're suddenly getting, you know, as that series went on, you're getting characters from all these different games, all these different third-party developers. They never changed the name, but the game itself changed. The characters changed. All the arenas. And I think with Mario Kart, it's going to be the same thing. I think that's the next natural kind of progression, but I'm sure there's going to be more to it. What do you guys think? Eric, let me hear from you first, man. What do you think?
Man, I know one thought that I had for a while now that what they could do is almost like a Mario Kart Ultimate where they kind of bring everything together and like you can choose like, you know, not only the track, but what version of the track that you want. Or you can play like in different, you want to go back and play in the Super Nintendo style. You could then all of your racers in that back in this like the SNES tracks would then be in the SNES style and things like that, just to kind of bring everything together. I think with Smash Bros. Ultimate being, you know, what it was, I think they could do something similar with Mario Kart and kind of make things, you know, bigger and better.
I think that would be awesome. So do you mean like graphical styles would be changing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
like whatever the
pretty sweet.
whatever the track is, like if, you know, for the 64 tracks or the SNES tracks, whatever you pick, you know, because there's a couple of them that carry over, like Moo Farms is in, you know, 64 and, you know, a couple of other ones, you know, whichever version of the track you pick, that's the graphics of the kart racers and stuff that you get. So if you pick an SNES one, you know, all of them are flat and kind of just go around the track like they would in SNES, the SNES world.
That'd be sick. I like that idea. Nick, what do you think?
So I was really trying to think about this as you were like introducing the topic of what would I improve from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Because I already love Mario Kart 8 on Switch. I think it's probably the best Mario Kart game we've gotten because it took a lot of the stuff I love from 7 and then made it better. And like it obviously has all of these courses and stuff. So I was trying to think like when I play Mario Kart, what is something that I wish they did better? And one of the things is coins. I feel like coins have no purpose whatsoever aside from giving you a boost in the race. So what I think would be really fun, and I know they kind of did this in Mario Kart Tour, but you had to pay for them, is bring in different costumes for your characters. Let me do Dr. Mario, like all these different costumes, Chef Mario, like Mario Maker Mario, all these different versions of Mario, kind of like how they did in Odyssey, but then let me use my coins to pay for that. So then I have an incentive, because coins seem like they're not going anywhere because they were in 7 and they were in 8 and they're still in 8 Deluxe. So since it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere, give me a reason to collect coins other than the speed aspect of it. Because then it just kind of feels like when I get a coin show up in my item, I'm like, dude, this is a waste of space. I could have a banana or a shell. And whenever I play online and we do custom rules, I take the coins out because I don't like them. So give me more of an incentive to collect the coins so I can grind, because I know initially you were supposed to use the coins to unlock cart options, but then once you unlock all the cart options, because it doesn't take you that long, the coins offer no value, and I have like 10,000 coins. So I'm like, okay, well, let me spend that on cosmetic stuff, wraps, stickers. Let me customize my cart a little more. Like just stuff like that, I think would be really fun and really interesting to add into the next Mario Kart game.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I like that a lot. And I think a lot of people will probably agree with you on that. They have a ton of coins and you get nothing out of it. And they should do more with it. And even hearing what you said about like having different versions of the characters, like Mario and Dr. Mario, I like that idea a lot. That got me to kind of thinking, though, is that it would be really nice if they continue to flesh out all the different cart options. Almost to where, I don't know if they'd ever do this. Because if you do something like this, it may not appeal to the masses. But if there was some sort of kind of upgrade option where they almost threw in like RPG elements to upgrading the carts, that would be really cool. And if you could maybe use your coins to buy it, or you gain XP or something, I think so the hardcore Nintendo fans would probably appreciate it. I just don't know that something like that would appeal to the masses and might actually turn people off, which you don't want to do that when it's selling like it is. Sumbro, what do you think?
Yeah, well, let me expand on what you said first, because it kind of ties right into what I want to see a lot of in this game, and that is different modes that we don't have. Because I actually think that what you're onto is a really good idea, but it shouldn't be like the forced default everybody plays with like a super leveled up. That should be like an optional thing, like more, your carts have a lot more customization to them. The stats are way more complicated than they are right now with just like the speed, acceleration, and all of that kind of stuff. And as you progress through the game, maybe you do kind of start to unlock parts that give you an edge, and almost, you can use a ram mechanic, attach it to like have a little, not a shell, but just like a punch, like a side punch that would come out that would just completely wreck the player to the side of you. That could be like a cart specific upgrade that you could unlock. But I think as long as all of that stuff was like a mode that you could hop into and disable and enable whenever you want, I think it just adds to the depth of the game. Which brings me into my biggest mode that I want to see return to the Mario Kart franchise in any way, shape, or form, and I'm hoping it happens. I'm hoping it happens here. Is a double dash mode, because in GameCube, having 2 characters, the extra strategy that went into it for me about which characters I was going to pair because of the special items that were unique to them, and then just like switching between the characters, to get the different items rotated around, and that's the way you're going to do it. I love that gameplay mechanic. And even some of like just if you go back and play Double Dash, the mechanics play so different than 8. And I almost want to like a half and half split between how it feels mechanically from Double Dash and how it feels in 8 Deluxe. I mean, if they met in the middle somewhere with how tight the turns are, because you can turn on a dime, it feels like, on Double Dash. And there are certain, bikes and carts you can do that in 8. But I almost want like a mishmash of those mechanics. And then I think expanded character roster for sure. That's just like a given. I honestly, and to your point, Thunderstash, I don't think we'll ever see them change the name Mario Kart, but I do think it will slowly start to feel like Nintendo Kart or Smash Kart. You know, it's not going to be Sora, but it's going to be a lot of, you know, we might see Samus one day. You know, we might see Captain Falcon, and that's going to be the closest that we get to, you know, having really an F-Zero game in the modern era. But you know, I do, and I'm hoping that's not the case also, but I do think there's going to be a lot of Nintendo IP support that's not there now. And then we should go, I think, crazy with content, because the problem, like this booster course pass, when this new one comes out, it's going to look visually incredible. I think we can all agree on that. This is probably going to be, and I think it came from Zippo, so throw away the actual source on it. But there was some talk that this was going to be like the most, you know, as far as the cost goes for the visuals, this is going to like set the record for any kind of Nintendo developed game. That didn't have to come from Zippo. I think that is what this is going to be, because they have the most time to work on it. It's going to be around the launch window of a new console, and they want to show off what that hardware can do and the sales of what this franchise has turned into. Why would Nintendo not put all of the work, love, and care into more visual fidelity? But my idea is you launch the game with a lot of brand new courses for the first time. So a ton of different, you know, all original cups, but we get maybe some of the big classics added in from over the course of time. But I think day one, when you announce the game, you announce 6 different expansion packs that are going to be coming out over the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, they should I don't like the word games as a service, and Nintendo, as long as they always give us the option to buy this stuff and own it, you know, as DLC.
Yeah,
I'm good with it. But to keep the player interest high from day one all the way to the end, I think if they communicate that they're just going to always have tracks to check out, that was the booster course pass for me was so much fun to talk about on the channel. I legitimately made a video every single time a new wave dropped, just to play through the courses and talk about, you know, what my opinions are of these courses. I had a blast with it. And it was also a reason that the next time I hung out with friends that, hey guys, we're playing Mario Kart tonight, not Smash Bros, because the new booster course pass wave dropped.
Yep.
So I think if they did something like that and like outlined it for the long term of the game, would be great. And then I really think that it should turn into Mario Kart Ultimate at the end of it. Like, I hope we get every track, you know, by the end of this game's roadmap of content. But hopefully they do a lot of the new track stuff too, because I think that was a highlight of the booster course pass, how it was a lot of classic levels and then some new ones. So I want to see that continue. And besides that, I just hope we get more in-depth online modes. Like, I think, you know, they could come up with more battle style mini games, and then they could also maybe even do something crazy like a battle royale elimination style race, where you have, you know, 60, 100 racers starting off, and then so many get eliminated each round, and you can either, you know, spectate the rest of the race or just drop off and go into your other thing. But literally picture Fall Guys, but, you know, in Mario Kart as far as that gameplay style mode. So that's what I think the next Mario Kart is going to be incredible, but I think that Nintendo hopefully will implement a lot of that stuff that we're talking about.
yeah, I hope so too. And some of the things you said got me thinking as well. And some of the chat kind of mentioned it. Actually, I think someone mentioned it earlier. Just the idea of, do you think we'll ever get characters from other franchises, or characters from not characters, but courses, tracks from franchises outside of Nintendo, like they do with Smash Brothers? Do we think that's ever an option? I mean, think about Mario Kart Arcade, right? We got Pac-Man.
I'll say this. I don't think in the base game, but I think if they have like a 6-year support plan, one of those drops will be exclusively third-party tracks, and they might even start off with like the obvious partnerships. Crash Team Racing, Sonic Racing. You kind of start with that, get the crossover going, and then you could dive into maybe a couple other IPs that are willing to participate, you know. But I do think that, you know, Pac-Man could obviously be one of those, since it's already technically been involved. So I do think that I just don't think for the base game. Like, for the base game, they have so much they can already work with. They don't really need to rely on that. Yeah. But knowing they locked in future partnerships for this long-term support plan, that would be pretty cool. And they probably wouldn't even announce that right away. That would they'd probably just announce we have a bunch of stuff coming, and that'll just be an announcement they say for later to be like this really, really big deal. I honestly think like this whole thing, because look, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to me is like the perfect Mario Kart game. So it's really hard to be like, how do you make this better? I just want more characters, more courses. Then I kept thinking, like, some people want like a double dash style mode to come back, maybe as an option. I don't know about making it a permanent thing, but as like, some would say, hey, more modes, have a double dash mode. Why not? Why can't we? There's no reason we can't have a double dash mode, or why do we have to have either or? Just have a double dash mode that the game plays like double dash. Like, why not? But then obviously still have like your more standard mode. And then just have like different online modes. Like you can do online races with that, or ranked online races with double dash mode, or online races without double dash mode, online races with items, online races without items. Have it all be ranked, or unranked. Obviously, offer both. Battle modes. I think those are like the biggest thing that they could really use a lot of improvement with. They actually did do quite a bit with Mario Kart 8. They added multiple different battle modes. I would like to see just more emphasis on those battle modes. I kind of feel like they came up with some cool ideas and then never expanded upon them. They're the ones that never got more content. We never got more content for the battle modes. So I feel like there's a lot they can do with the battle modes. But then one thing I want, whether they start with 32 or 64 tracks, whatever they start with, because I don't think they're going lower than 32, could go as high as 64 just to make it one of the biggest launches ever, because that's what Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had when it initially came over. Even though technically that was with DLC included, because there wasn't 64 when Mario Kart 8 came out. That was already DLC. So we had 2 DLCs technically Mario Kart 8. But if they start with 64, what I want to see, because they've already crossed the barrier of including other IPs beyond Mario. They've already done it, right? We have Zelda, we have Pikmin, not Pikmin, sorry, Animal Crossing, right? So they've already crossed that barrier. Don't be afraid to cross that barrier more. And every single cup in the new game is all new tracks, not remastered, not remade, completely brand new tracks, all of them. And then don't be afraid. Have like half the cups be like Mario themed. Mario, Donkey Kong. You can have a whole Donkey Kong cup with a bunch of different Donkey Kong. That'd be really cool, especially with possibly a Donkey Kong movie coming out. But have a Zelda cup.
Yeah.
Where it's not just one Zelda track, it's 4.
I agree.
Right? Like, do that. Do the same thing with Animal Crossing. Look at your, somehow work it out with fucking Pokemon and have a Pokemon one.
Yeah.
You literally technically own the trademark. I'm sure you can make it work. I'm sure you can make that happen. And if that's too complicated, fine. Because you got to involve other companies, fine. But you know what I mean? Like, you're trying to push Metroid right now. Why can't we have a Metroid Cup?
Exactly.
So I think that's a great way to expand it, but still, keep half of the cups Mario themed. So it's still, very much Mario Kart, but you're expanding it to new places that we've never been. And we get to see these worlds from other games in ways that we've never seen them before. Because Mario Kart 8 is just a beautiful looking game. It really is. Like, even when we think about, this is going to look so much better. It's hard to imagine. Do we just need anti-aliasing? That's like the big thing holding it back is anti-aliasing. Okay, yeah, but like there's still some things if you pause the game and just look like, okay, yeah, there's some things that don't look that great, but like we're in motion, so we don't care. Imagining what they're going to be able to do visually and the amount of effects they're going to be able to do. Also, like that already would just make it feel so fresh. 64 brand new, never before seen tracks, some cups that aren't Mario themed. That would be sick. Obviously, you would also throw in some extra unlockable playable characters, and you really need to make the unlockables take some time. Mario Kart 8 was not hard to unlock everything, but this is a game that's going to be played for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, decade. Like, make it take, like, just have so many unlockables that like it just keeps giving you incentives to play online matches and try to beat the cups multiple times or win the multiplayer or do the battle modes. Like, so much you could have unlockable because you get all the car parts, but like it really, it didn't really feel like much. Like, you get the DLC, you just get the character. How about I have to beat the cup to get the character? You know what I mean? Like, that would be really cool. But setting that aside, I also think one of the big things that they could do to really freshen the series up, have a classic item mode and then have all new item mode where you only keep the blue shell. The blue shell's a staple that stays. Then all the other items.
Blue shell's a coward's item.
Yeah, I know you can always turn it off. They've had that option for a while, but have a all new items. We've been doing the banana, the shells, the star. Like they always introduce like one. No, refresh all of them. So keep a classic item mode because you're not going to get rid of the classics, right? You're going to keep them there. They work. But have another mode that's like all new items that do crazy shit. And just let us choose. Dealer's choice. Even have a mode where you can combine them all together. And if you want to get even crazier, we haven't expanded past 8 racers. What's stopping us? What's stopping us now? It's all online. Why can't we have 16?
I thought 8 Deluxe had 12.
Yeah, it does have 12. You're right.
Get us up to 24.
But I'd like to see 16 or more, which means bigger tracks. Create like more, and on the tracks, more alternate pathways that are hidden. You see people fly off the map and you're like, ha ha ha, you suck. Next thing you know, they're like 30 feet in front of you. Like, what the fuck happened? I guess I'm going to fly off the track, see what happens. Like, they've always had those multiple paths, but have more of those. I just want to see, like, there's so much they can do. It's just, it's been so long. This is a Wii U game. You playing a Wii U game. They did home circuit. That's fun. Being able to make your own Mario Kart courses is fun.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have the space for that, but for those that do and have the enough people that buy it because everyone's got to buy their own cart, it's fun. But that was a cool little experiment that I think would have worked better at like Nintendo World. It's probably where at like the museum or something. Like that would have been a really cool thing there. It is cool, but like it's so hard to get people together to do that. And then obviously Mario Kart Tour on phone, fun game. Actually was pretty fun. Cool. But like they ended that game too. I didn't think they were going to end that game. It had like 100 million people playing it. Why they ended it, I don't know. They're probably going to launch this next game with a mobile phone companion game. I think that's like a given. There's going to be some sort of mobile phone equivalent game that's going to launch along with it. They're going to work in tandem. They might even let you race against people. There might be a mode where you can race against people on phone. I can see that existing. So, and because on phone you can use controllers too. Like you can get rid of the touch screens at disadvantage. You can use a controller on a phone. People do it all the time. My daughter plays Fortnite on her fucking phone with a controller. So, probably she wrecks everyone because they're all tap users, and she's like, "Ha, click done." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Yeah, that is what it is." But I do think that they're going to do that because Nintendo accounts are huge on phones. So I kind of think there's just a lot of different ways they could go. I mean, in all of this, I haven't talked about like any originality with the courses or changing up the gameplay because I think like Mario Kart is Mario Kart, but I just think it's so good that just more new, but familiar, but also new is the way to go. And then just with a constant, like a constant content update roadmap. So it's like Smash. Right, we're just getting hyped for years on all these wave drops. Would just be sick. Would be absolutely sick. And there's so many different ways that they can make because like if they're having custom cups based on games, like imagine that like Mario Kart 8 had another wave coming. Like they could literally have a Metroid Cup launching alongside Metroid Prime 4. That'd be sick. That'd be absolutely sick because there could be stuff in there based on the game that we haven't even played yet. That would just be awesome. So, and of course, Nintendo can do it because it's their internal studios. They can do whatever the hell they feel like. So that's kind of my thoughts. I know I just kind of went off the deep end because I might have took every great idea there is. I don't even know.
So, like, I agree with you on all that, on everything you guys have said. It all makes a lot of sense. And I know we've talked about it a lot here on the podcast. I brought it up a lot about Mario Kart being this evergreen title because I really think Nintendo kind of stumbled upon Mario Kart being a truly evergreen title because you ended up putting a Mario Kart on Switch a month after it launched, which of course that was the fastest we ever got a Mario Kart. And so I don't think that was the plan, right? The plan was to get a Mario Kart out there to hold everyone over while we make the main Mario Kart. And then it turned into, hey, so many people are buying this. Let's make DLC for it. Then let's do the booster pass. And it very naturally, let me say, turned into an evergreen title. So now it's like, well, now we have to do this every time because we want to replicate this. And then with the different IP, having cups, if you think about it, when you do that, Mario Kart really becomes like this evergreen driver to advertise these games, right? And to get that IP, because it's like, think about it. Take Metroid again, for example. We got 70 million people playing Mario Kart, 70 million copies sold. And you release a Metroid Cup, you just directly advertised Metroid to 70 million people through playing Mario Kart. They're going to see that while they're playing, these tracks in Metroid. Be like,
Cup,
I want to
baby.
see more of this game, right? Especially people who don't know about it.
A Xenoblade Cup would be so sick.
Well, I mean,
There's
even
so many references you could throw into a Xenoblade Cup. Oh man.
especially with the news that came out. What was it today? With Monolith?
Oh yeah, they're fully owned now.
Fully owned now.
That's
Nintendo
right.
fully owns them.
No one
because
else owns them anymore.
Previously, what was it? 4%?
I literally don't remember.
Yeah, I think 4% was still owned by Monolith, and that's obviously gone now as of, what was it, yesterday, I think?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yesterday, day
Nintendo
before.
owns 100% of them. So Xenoblade is totally on the table for being included in Mario Kart now. So that'd be interesting. But I really think that if you do that, man, if you make Mario Kart come out, if you have it come out early, and then have all of these different cups based on the IP, like, think about it. You could have permanent advertising for the lifespan of Switch, for Switch 2. Like, this is a total money-making move right here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I hope Nintendo does it.
Splatoon Cup, when Splatoon comes out. Like, dude.
Yeah,
Come on.
I know, man. Yeah,
And then you can even have like a new custom item, like a splat gun or something that messes people up and makes them slip or something. Like, that'd be sick.
I would love to see some new items. Like, what if they added an item from like each IP that's in the game? So say you have a Metroid Cup, you have to add something from Metroid. So it could be the little bomb you drop when you go into Morph Ball.
Ah, that'd be cool.
You know what I mean? Like, that would be
Yep.
cool.
Yeah, that would be neat. Yeah.
Or make your cart do a screw attack spin to just, like literally like a front flip a bunch of times in a row, and you become a big electric ball, and it just completely decimates whoever's around you.
I mean, look, it's just like being the Bullet Bill, right? It's just a cooler version.
Yeah. And then like with F-Zero, you could have what was it, when you press L or R, you basically go right into the other vehicle. What's it called? Do you guys remember what it's called? I was just playing F-Zero 64 on F-Zero X on the Atari.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, but if you think about it, you could literally take the most iconic kind of item that would make sense and put that into Mario Kart. Like, what would you do for Zelda?
Hook shot.
I was
You can
thinking
grab
maybe
the
the
person in
hook
front
shot.
of you.
Hookshot's an obvious one. That'd be sick.
Swap out with him.
Yeah,
swap.
that's what
That'd
I'm
be
thinking.
crazy.
Hookshot. Yeah.
That would be a great way, because you already have the boomerang from, what was it, Super Mario 3D Land?
Yeah,
Which
I think that's
basically
what,
where
I
it
think it's
came
the
from.
first game it was in.
So you can't. I think you keep that there. You don't like do a boomerang for The Legend of Zelda, but I think the hook shot would be a great way to actually bring the hook shot back, right? Because everyone loves the hook shot, but we haven't had it in the last
It's been a while.
How long?
I was
how
going to
long has it
say, as much as I want the hook shot, no modern Zelda player that grew up in the
Doesn't
Switch
even know what
era.
it is. That's-
Yeah,
that's
they
a
don't know
throwback.
what it is.
That'd
They're
be
going to give them
throwback
Ultra
item
Hand
now.
instead.
It's crazy to say that hookshot's like now a classic item. It's
That's
is.
true. And
Yeah.
then if you bring it back and everyone plays Mario Kart and they're like, what is this item? The hook shot. And then
Watch, no, they let you make echoes of your cart to confuse people. So when they shoot
There you
items,
go.
it hits the wrong cart.
ooh, I think there's a lot they can do here, right? Just kind of throwing some ideas out there with you guys. I think there's a lot that they can do. As far as that double dash mode, do you guys remember that rumor? I forget who did the rumor, but something about having a certain amount of characters or carts on screen at once. You remember hearing that?
Yeah, that was Nash Weedle, and it was supposedly, I think it was Nash Weedle if I got that right, but 8-player local play. So TVs are getting bigger nowadays. You know, if you think about it, I still think it'd be too much.
That'd be wild. There's so much going on. At
Yeah,
once.
but like you would almost have to advertise it like, hey, we recommend this on like an 85-inch TV or larger, you know, because if you're playing it on like a 32-inch, nobody's being. But you know, you think back to the CRT days, and you know, we're playing a 19-inch TV back in the day, 4-player. So it's possible.
It would be neat if they went like you can do like 4-player split screen, but then if you have 4 other people with a Switch, they could just play with you, even if they don't own the game, and then they could play it on their own Switch.
Oh, that would be so cool! If
That really
they brought
needs to
back,
happen.
That makes
download
like
play.
like download play kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be perfect. Perfect game for it.
When I read that rumor, the first thing I thought of is Double Dash, right? Is that we're gonna keep still the 4 screens, but we're gonna have
2 people per
two
screen,
people on each
Yeah,
card,
that's a
which
good
is going
point.
to equal to
Yeah, that
8
could be-
players.
Double dash mode, yeah. Also, this is an idea. Someone super chatted this in. It's related to the topic. It says, as for Mario Kart, I've always wanted to make custom cups without limits. You could pick any 4 tracks you want from any of the cups in any order you want and play them in all modes. That'd be
Honestly,
cool.
don't know why they don't have that.
Yeah,
That should
Especially if
already
you're
be a
doing
thing.
like a local, or not a local, but like an online custom lobby where you're picking tracks every race anyway. Just
Yeah.
let me do like a random 4 cup and we just go straight instead of going back to the lobby every single time. Just let me do however many races I want to do, set it to random or pick them all and just play them in sequential order. I think would be it's a very small change, but I think it'd be very helpful and very fun.
Yeah, I think. I mean, yeah. Even like the creating the custom cups. Like, I don't know how that's not a thing. It makes so much. Like, the moment I read that, I'm like, dude, why doesn't this exist? Like, it's such an obvious thing. It's kind of like, oh, it's so obvious we should be able to play Mario Party online, but then we really couldn't do that till recently. It's like, really? It took this long till like 2024 to have standard Mario Party playable online with 4 people? Like, what? I've been able to play Monopoly online for like a decade. What are we doing?
So I may be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure you could do custom cups in a way on Mario Kart 7. There was some like thing through the online where you set up your online profile, and if people like Street Pass swapped with you, they could play your custom courses, and you picked like your 4 favorite courses or whatever, and they would race your ghost on those 4 tracks. And that's how they did it. So it's, if I'm correct about that, I think I am. If that is a thing, then they've done it. So there's precedent for them to do it not even that long ago. Like the last numbered Mario Kart game had it online. So I don't know. They could do it.
I don't see why they don't. I mean, I just think like Nintendo's had a decade to come up with some really good ideas. That's unheard of, right? So I'm expecting a lot here. And I know, a lot of people in chat have mentioned this. Is like some sort of campaign or story mode.
Mhm.
Like borrowing from Diddy Kong Racing almost, where you had that story mode. Do you think we ever get a story mode in Mario Kart?
I hope so. I hope they flesh it out more. I don't think it's going to be Diddy Kong Racing ever, but I do like a good example is, Super Mario Party Jamboree has kind of like a one-off single player mode or something where you can help the Toads. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but my fiance's been going through that and she's actually like into it, and I'm just like, well, that's kind of cool that it's not exactly like you're playing the regular Mario Party. It's like a different version of it, but it's still a reason to play like a mainly multiplayer game by yourself. And I hope that they have something other than just unlocking characters and carts and getting like the, platinum trophy on each cup. Like I hope they give you more of a reason to go through the single player by yourself.
Yeah,
But I don't
'cause
know if they
feel
will.
like-
It's a coin toss, in my opinion.
I feel like single player in Mario Kart right now is kind of irrelevant. Like it's the same as if you play online, you're just playing by yourself. And it would be nice to have a story mode. One thing, this is not really related, but one thing I do hope they add is better AI, because I've gotten to a point where the AI, I can put them on like hard AI. Doesn't phase me at all. Add like ultra hard, unbeatable AI. Give me something that I can continually improve if I'm gonna play by myself. Because I mean, if I want to challenge, I just go play online. Especially if you play against Japanese. Oh
They're
my
just-
goodness, the Japanese players are built different. They're so good at the game. So I'm like, give me AI, but on that level, and just so I can play by myself if I don't have Wi-Fi or something. I think that would be better.
Sure.
Yeah, I would like to see more incentive to play the one player mode. Like more things to do, more things to unlock. I think there's a lot of great ideas for sure.
Imagine if they have a single player story mode and there's actually cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be really interesting.
That'd be
wouldn't it?
really cool.
What
not?
if they did something like the old like Mario Golf, Mario Tennis back on like the Game Boys, where
Camelot days.
yes, exactly, where it's like an RPG type where you can put like you get levels up and then you can put like your level into speed, or like if you wanted to like you could put it in more defense. So like if you get hit by an item, you actually spend less time flopping around. Or turning or something like that, and you can put your levels up into where you want to, and then kind of go through different cups and stuff for some odd reason, whatever story they come up
They're
with.
trying to be the best,
Yeah.
baby.
This is kind
Trying
of
to be
what
the
I was
champion.
thinking with adding like sort of RPG elements, was kind of like that Camelot route, like you said,
Mhm.
because I think that would be a really nice way to do it if you're going to do it. That could still appeal to the masses and be easy for everyone to understand.
Mhm.
Everyone loved, to my knowledge, they loved that about the Mario Tennis and Mario Golf games that Camelot did,
Mhm.
is that there were some RPG elements in that, which is really cool. And I think that's something that probably everyone wishes we still had today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Man. Mario Kart.
Right. What if they did a number of a lap adjuster where you can just race if you wanted to 99 laps for the hell of it?
Now
That would be kind of cool.
I can get behind.
That would be insane. That's like an attrition.
Yeah.
Hear me out. 99 laps, baby park, 200cc bombs only.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
would be sick. That would be the
That's
one
the
course of
gauntlet
that.
right there.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be so insane. Oh man.
Be like
Um,
NASCAR, watching NASCAR, man.
Right.
Yeah, right. It's wild. That'd be so wild. Bombs only. It's gonna be crazy. All right, cool. Well, let's get to our next topic. Eric,
Yes.
what the hell are we talking about?
A former Retro Studios dev, he gave insight into how Nintendo does their dev cycles and stuff like that.
Oh boy.
Yay.
I feel like we should
I-
watch the video.
We can watch the video.
I think we should.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we should. Because like there's
I mean, I
there's
watched your
quotes,
video.
there's quotes, but it's good to hear from the man,
Right.
this former dev, this Nate person.
Percopile?
No relation to me. I promise. It's a different Nate. Let's go ahead and get this up in here. Let's see what we got going on.
That part of the reason you left is because you were going
Oh,
a bit
hold on.
insane,
There's
working
no
on
audio.
one room a month.
Yeah, I would say that's not my style.
can you
Like
guys hear
I
it?
learned a lot.
Sounds like
about
it's
how
double
to
now.
Okay, is it good now?
bespoke craft every
Yep.
intersection
Okay.
and literally every single
So
crack
we-
in a
I
room.
can't hear it. This
But
is-
I was
I
like,
gotta fix
oh
this for
my,
tomorrow
this
before I
is
stream.
like
You
so
guys can hear it.
completely unnecessary. And then if you need to change,
Just let it play.
like you have to completely redo stuff. You can't just like, I'm going to move a wall. It's like, no, because everything perfectly interacts with each other. Like literally every single intersection. That's not an exaggeration. Like that was a whole big deal of like all these perfect little trims whenever anything would touch anything else. You couldn't ever jam anything, which can look nice, but a month for a room. It's a lot more design driven though, and also a lot more from, I would say, the core Nintendo group. Like They had
Japan.
people, from Japan who would fly in and care about the smallest details. Like, I was lucky on world art to not get too much of it, but on character art, they would literally be like, no, on this character, move this part on their shoulder down a little bit. Like, these are not people who worked on the game. This is people from Japan flying in to micromanage characters and stuff like that. So that's part of also why I left it. Like, part of it was the tech and that being really stifling for an art career, but also that style of production. Like, I have never liked working with publishers or anything, but this was a whole nother level even of like that level of micromanagement. It's like, dude, no way. That, in my opinion, if you're not directly working on the game, go away. Like, you can give feedback and guidance, but I don't think you should be telling the devs what to do. Like, you don't have all of the proper context and framing to actually be giving these critiques. And I think it's completely not how things should be made. Not to say that like Metroid didn't turn out great, but it didn't turn out great because of like some shoulder pad was shifted slightly. Like, I think that's kind of an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, so were you in some of these meetings, or was this like hearsay from other people telling you?
It was hearsay.
Yeah.
But it 100% did happen.
Yeah. But you did that happen in anything to do with you? Did Japan directly comment on anything that you did?
No. But I had been at Terminal Reality, I did have that experience where I had to like make a level more colorful because the publisher wanted it more colorful. So I had that kind of experience with outside interference and had thoughts on it. But thankfully, I was fine at Retro and nobody at Nintendo was telling me what to do. But that's part of why I thought it was not great. Like, they're just choosing to focus on these individual things. Like, all the parts of the game matter, but then you get what we call the seagull effect, where someone just who's up top flies by and shits on something.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, or other people call it the Eye of Sauron or whatever, where it's just like this one thing then gets all this attention. It's like, well, what about the rest of it? Like, why is it just that one thing? Because it just like catches their attention. And it's like, rarely makes that big of a difference and makes it better, and honestly just makes people demotivated having some outside person come in and give this feedback.
All right.
First off, shout out to Kiwi Talks for that.
Yep. Shout out to them for running a really cool podcast. So obviously he had a lot to say. Very interesting, because obviously most of it, like almost not most of it, all of it's negative. He literally basically hated working for Nintendo. I wonder if he has a little bit of an axe to grind. I'm not so sure that he left. It was a mutual leaving. I'm not really sure. Obviously, we don't know, but it's kind of weird because it sounds like his job was never impacted. So Nintendo never told him what to do, but he's mad. So I made a tweet on this that kind of blew up about on some thoughts I have on this, because I kind of think it's a little ridiculous, because any job, you have bosses that tell you what to do, and sometimes you just got to do it. And like some of the people that were involved in this were people like Sakamoto, who is basically one of the founders of Metroid. So it's crazy to be like, yeah, Nintendo cares about those fine details about how their characters look. Like, they're very picky about that. We've known this forever. This is nothing new. We knew this long before Metroid Prime 3 Corruption was made, because that's what this was about. So what do you guys think about this kind of like work environment? Do you agree with him? Do you think like this is like too much micromanaging? Or do you think like just kind of a jaded dev that, even though their job wasn't, I mean, they threw a pot shot in there at Wii, for crying out loud. Like, yeah, I'm limited as an artist because of that shitty hardware. I'm like, well, you know,
the Wii
one, and you applied to work there. Like, you chose to work there. They didn't come and be like, you must work here. You applied at a company during the Wii era, because he only worked there for a year and a half. So it was all during the Wii era.
Well, I think it was pretty clear from his sentiments that this man wants to work at an indie studio where he gets to make the decisions. Like, the idea is that he didn't like somebody else telling him what to do. I mean, that's exactly what it is. And yes, he highlighted that it's not maybe the people who are in the trenches developing the games, which was the big problem that he had with it. But the understanding has to come in to where, okay, you are not working on your own original created character. You are working on Samus from the Metroid franchise that has been established since the NES. So that's where the disconnect is at. It seems like he's like, well, why are you worrying about the details? And Nintendo's like, listen, we've built this IP ourselves over all these years. We're trusting you with it. You're going to do the small minor tweaks we want you to do because we take care of our IP. You know, we have a specific vision for it, and it has to line up with that vision to a certain amount. So I just think it's somebody who doesn't, you know, it is funny because, like he mentioned, it didn't impact his job. So it's possible he has a sour taste in his mouth for however he left Retro. And it sounds like
he hated his job.
It sounds like
he spent an entire month on like one area. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know why we're doing it this way, because like we edit one thing, but then we got to edit the whole thing. And it's like, yeah, because Nintendo cares about the details. The details matter. Like they've always been that way. The fans care about the details. When details are wrong, the fans are throwing huge fits. And Nintendo knows that. Like if Samus Aran doesn't look like Samus Aran, it's going to be a problem. Like
no, Samus looks like Samus Aran.
Yeah, Aran. So like on one hand, I understand, like, you know, if you're talking about it being like stifling to creative freedom, but it doesn't sound like Nintendo was coming in telling them how you should make the game. They just wanted things to look a certain way to fit in with the aesthetic of one. There's already 2 Prime games, so you got to fit in with that aesthetic, let alone the entire franchise. I think it's fine if you want to be like work at an independent studio and be your own boss. I mean, look, I'm my own boss on YouTube. I get it. There is a lot of freedom with that. And I totally understand like the desire to have that creative freedom to make whatever you want to make. I can make whatever video I want to make every day, right? So that's awesome. But when you work for another company, and Retro Studios, for those that aren't aware, even back then, was wholly owned by Nintendo. They are a subsidiary that's wholly owned by Nintendo. It's not like Retro Studio or Monolith where they just got 100%, even though they already owned a majority. They owned all of Retro Studios. They literally wholesale purchased it long before Metroid Prime 3 came out. So it's a Nintendo internal studio officially. So when people fly in from Japan, yeah, maybe they're not on the ground floor developing the game, but these people have been working on Metroid since the 80s. Like, yeah, they're going to come in and tell you if something doesn't look right. This is their IP. You're working on their IP. It's not the other way around. You didn't create this IP out of nothing, and now these, you know, people are coming and telling you what to do. No. These people are the people that worked on it and are telling you it doesn't feel like Metroid. We need to fix it. And it's kind of weird too, because like Metroid Prime 1 had a really troubled development, the original Metroid Prime. And a lot of Japanese staff actually came in to help finish that project and make it come together. And Metroid Prime's amazing. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption is even still really, really good. Widely considered the weakest of the 3, but still really good. And I know that there is some... there's stuff out there about how like they like one idea they had for Metroid Prime 3 at one point was for it to be like an open world game or semi open world, at least not, you know, not like Skyrim-esque, but, you know, maybe open zone or something with more bounty stuff. And then Sakamoto shut that idea down and stuff. And like, oh, that's not really what Metroid is, which, you know, made people go, oh, they don't even know that Samus is a bounty hunter. They don't know what bounty hunting is. It don't really matter. If they tell you, if one of the creators of Metroid comes in and tells you, hey, Metroid is Samus is a space adventurer with some motherly like features, and she does these things because she cares. Okay, and no one's saying she doesn't get a payday for doing those things, but she's also doing it because she cares. Because bounties hunters can just say no to the bounties; they don't have to do it. So maybe the money's not a good enough driving force. There has to be something else that drives Samus to want to help and do these things. And so that's it's kind of like I have a problem at times when people complain about a job being a job. You know, like that's maybe what irks me the most about it, is like you were hired. These people, these Japanese people that you don't even know their names, that came in and took advantage, they're the ones writing your checks.
Yep.
Like you have that job because they spent money, bought the studio, and funded you. Yep. You know, like I get wanting creative freedom, but like know who you're working for. You know, like Nintendo Nintendo, as an example, we know of Mario and Rabbids. David Saliani put it in an interview. Like, Nintendo told them they can't jump. We don't want the characters to jump because we don't want this to get confused with a normal Mario game. And they said, that's fine. We can create this amazing game around it. And then they came up with a jumping concept anyways with the team jump in the second game, and that Nintendo was totally cool with, you know? So, and Pokemon fan, I don't know what is going on. You're going wild.
That's
Holy
crazy.
45 gifted members. I am just RGT85. Welcome to the member club, buddy. This is wild right now. Anyways, holy crap, I'm a little taken aback. So I don't know. You know what, Thunderstash, you go right now. I'm flabbergasted at the moment.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of share my sentiment that I shared on Twitter. And I think that the way he expressed his perspective reflects a lack of business maturity and respect. I think referring to Nintendo employees trusted enough by the company to travel from Japan to Austin, Texas, to uphold their intellectual property as merely suits comes across as dismissive and judgmental. Surely these individuals bring more to the table than such a reductive label suggests. So I think approaching the partnership with a more positive mindset could have provided him with invaluable insights and takeaways at the very least. But he wanted to kind of just judge from the get-go. And it's like, where did you work before Retro? I mean, this is something we used to always say at Islands. And I'm going to mention why I get annoyed when people say something about people in suits, because I want to get into that a little bit.
I knew that set you off. I saw it on Twitter. I'm like, oh, he's set off by that suits comment.
I am. I'll explain why. But when people used to complain at Islands about things they don't like, policies, procedures, we always remind them, what's the name outside the building? Is it Islands or is it Steve's Islands? Like, it's Islands. Okay. Well, until it's Steve's Islands, you got to follow these rules. That's how it works. That's how it works in the world. Okay. There's no different. And this guy just judging people because they're in suits. It's like, hey, man, why don't you find out who they are then instead of just judging them? If you're wondering what they've done at Nintendo, there's a thing called Google. I'm sure you know their names. Whoever these suits were, look them up. Figure out what they've done. What irritates me about that is that, like, I'm gonna just talk real quick from work experience, but working at Islands Restaurant, I started at the bottom and moved my way up into corporate. So I was a host for a second. I was a busser. I was a server. I was a bartender. I learned how to cook. I was a trainer. I was a front of house manager, a back of house manager, a bar manager, a kitchen manager. Then I went into a manager that went to different locations and was sent all across California and Arizona to fix locations that were failing. So when I've done everything. So when I show up to give you feedback on something, I know what I'm talking about because I worked every fucking position. So when you try and reduce people to a label as a suit, like they don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like to do this job. It's like, actually I do. I just excelled past that. Okay. And now I am wearing a suit and I am going to tell you how it works, but I'm going to explain the whys. I don't know if they do that. So I can't speak to that. I always explain the whys. I think that's extremely important.
It's also important to note this guy heard it all through hearsay. He has no direct knowledge of what was even said.
Exactly. And I'll say the same thing too, though. When I worked at Lone Depot, I was entry-level position. And over the course of time, I got 11 promotions in that company. So if I'm telling someone how to do something, it's because I did this job already, and I'm going to explain to you why. I'm going to explain to you why it works, and I'm letting you know this to make your job easier for you, so you can get out of here at a decent time, so you can make more money, so you can have more freedom. This is all to help you, always. So when they say that someone shows up in a suit and gives you feedback, you should think about how'd they get into the suit. Nintendo, you don't just show up at Nintendo and suddenly they're going to send you out to Austin, Texas to make sure that the Metroid IP is being upheld. What do you think? They sent the mail guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, get the F out of here, bro. And also, like you said, Nate, I do get irritated when people complain about a job. Okay? This is the world, man. This is how it works. If you don't want to do this, make a plan to get out. Make a plan to do something different if you don't want to do this forever. And you don't have to want to do this forever. There really is no perfect job out there, right?
Yeah.
It's all in what you make it. It's in your mindset. And it's very important to have a positive mindset. It was very clear to me from the get-go. This guy does not have a natural positive mindset. The dude was super negative, personally. I thought he was negative about everything.
Yeah,
it was just constant complaining. It's like, dude.
It's like, first off, I don't even like publishers.
When he said that, it's like, well, what?
Then why'd you go work for a company that Nintendo owns them? They're the public that make your own game. Go independent. What are we doing?
Well, that's the thing, man. It's like, okay, well, then you can develop a game forever. Because if you don't like publishers, no one's ever going to play it because it's never going to get published. You know what I mean? That's like being a server in a restaurant and saying, I don't like cooks. Well,
here's the thing.
The cooks in order
there's
to
a lot
serve
of
food.
And there's a lot of shitty things going on in the AAA industry.
Yes.
This is what you're complaining about.
Exactly, dude. You just
complain about something that's worth complaining about, you know?
Yeah. It just felt like you're crying over spilled milk. And it's like, bro.
That's why I think he might have been let go. So it's been 15 years, by the way, since he's worked there. It's like
15 years.
Yeah. There might be a little jadedness going on.
Okay. The way he talked about it, it feels like it's been living in his mind.
That's why I said I don't know that he left willingly.
15 years.
That's why I'm kind of wondering if he didn't leave willfully, like he was let go.
And it might have been him and a group of his buddies, you know what I mean, from the sounds of it, because that's what, and it was over stuff that they needed to rework.
And we were limited. We were limited by the Wii anyways. So dude, you applied to work there during the Wii. Do you know what you're doing? Why did you go work for Sony or something? I'm confused.
Like, I kind of looked at it this way too, and I was trying to think of like comparables, right? In sports, because naturally, those are the two things I really love: video games and sports, right? And so, like, think about basketball. Okay, think about who's probably the most successful basketball coach in the NBA today. Probably Greg Popovich, right? Or maybe you can go look across the way to
Coach Kerr, maybe
go to Miami with Spoelstra or Kerr.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, those are like the three big ones. Yeah.
All right. All guys who have tons of experience. If they give you feedback, that's excellent because they are so skilled and experienced. They've seen it all. They've helped so many people. If you're getting feedback from them, you should cherish that feedback because that's only going to make you better. Okay? Like, think about it if you're playing basketball and Michael Jordan wants to give you some tips. What are you going to do? You're going to shun him? You're going to be like, I don't want to hear from him. I like doing things the way I want to do them. You know, I don't need your help. It felt like that because it's like, this is Nintendo, dude. Like they're the most respected company. If they're giving you feedback, this is great. Like who better to get feedback? If Nintendo can't give you feedback, nobody can. So I
Also-
feel like nobody can give this dude feedback.
Because Nintendo is a publicly traded company, we actually can see the career path of everyone that's become a suit and saw they all started at the bottom and worked their way up. So like none of these people being sent over are people that, because some companies will sometimes shoehorn in a brother or a friend with no experience that, yeah, might sound like a bit of a dumbass when they say stuff at times because they don't have that experience. But that's just not how Nintendo does it. They literally promoted a non-Yamuchi family member in Iwata to CEO because he was the best fucking person for the job. And he worked his way up from the bottom to get to there. Like, you know, even now, Furukawa, been at Nintendo 20 years. Like, Furukawa wasn't just randomly hired just to be CEO. So, like, everyone at Nintendo has worked their way up the ladder in some form. Even all their current directors,
All
they
of them.
started off low level. I mean, Eiji Aonuma, love him with Zelda. Dude, he was like a little artist guy.
Thing about
Low on the totem pole. Worked his
Iwata.
way up.
I mean, Iwata was working at HAL as a programmer. Then he becomes the president of Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like, if you're getting feedback from these people, cherish it. Ask more questions. If you don't understand why they want you to do this, kindly ask them in a very kind way and let them know that you want to learn. Because it's like you have an opportunity to learn from the best. What are you doing? You're complaining about it?
Like, why does you want Samus' shoulder pad to look that way? Ask them.
Ask them.
Instead of complaining that you have to change the shoulder pad, be like, hey, what's so important about the shoulder pad looking this way? And I bet you they will grab the translator and give you a diatribe novel about the history of Samus and why that look is the way it is.
I guarantee they would too. And so,
but you don't ask.
That's how I look
you just
at
complain, oh, why does it matter? I got to move the shoulder pad an inch. There's a history that you're not respecting because you don't know.
Exactly. So just all of this. When I saw it the other morning when you posted about it, I'm reading through this and I watched the video and I was just like, I was getting fired up. I'm like, this is some bullshit.
Yeah, it kind of a crazy thing. And again, it's just one employee. It's not like there's a bunch of ex-Nintendo employees that are shitting all over Nintendo. No. A lot of former Retro employees have actually spoke positively about it. They've complained a little bit about how hard it can be. It's a different studio because you do got to work with people in Japan, and there is like a different dynamic there than compared to most Western studios. But all of them have usually come away with this deep reverence for the IP, and all the conversations seem to always be about making sure the IP feels like the IP is supposed to feel, because Retro has never made an original IP game for Nintendo. Yeah. I don't know if people understand that Retro has never made an original IP for Nintendo. It's been Donkey Kong and it's been Metroid, two things that existed before Retro Studios ever existed. Now, Nick with no K, we haven't heard from you. You got any thoughts on this?
Yeah. So this is, I feel like a lot of good stuff has been covered, but I think what it comes down to, because where I work, we deal with a lot of clients, and in dealing with those clients, it's not stuff we made. We're having these clients come in, give us what they want us to work on, and they might have things that, like, I had a client over the summer that I did not understand why they were doing the things they were doing. I personally did not think it was the best decision for them to make. However, at a certain point, you have to set your personal feelings and your pride aside, especially if the client is the one giving you the money to make this thing. You shut up, you make the change, and if it turns out negatively for them, that's on you, or that's on them, because you did what they asked you to do at the end of the day. Now, there is a certain wiggle room with some clients to be like, hey, as someone who, works in video professionally, and you may not be super well versed in this, here's my opinion, here's my feedback. But ultimately, if they come back and they say, well, that's really good to know, but I still want to do it this way, you still got to do it the way they want you to do it. So there is that balance of asking, why are we doing it this way? I do that a lot because I have no issue doing anything for anyone if you tell me why we're doing it. If you say, well, I want it to be this color because it matches the background that's on the screen, I'll be like, all right, cool. No problem from me. I'll do that for you. So it also sounds like this guy doesn't have a particularly coachable attitude, because I dealt with that a lot in film school, because in film school, everybody wants to be a director.
Hmm.
Tough break. Not everybody gets to be a director. There's only one director, maybe two, on any given movie or TV show. So one person's in charge, everybody else is under that person. So you have to have that attitude of like, be coachable, ask questions, learn why. If you want to be a director, ask someone who is a director how they got there. Try to follow their path and figure out what attitude do you have. It's just, it's so weird. And like, you're going to sit here and complain about the power of the Wii. It's the Wii. Have you seen, I'm not saying this to like diss the Wii. The Wii has plenty of good games, but also like temper your expectations a little bit. Like, it's the Wii. I don't even know what to say. Like, you're not making an Xbox game.
You applied to work there. You knew what you were doing.
You can't say that you just showed up to Retro Studios and got a job one day. Like, you had to go through the interview process. Surely you did some kind of research to figure out what kind of studio this was, the games they worked on, the company that they're owned by in Nintendo.
Exactly.
Like, it's also just so rude to be like, the people from Japan came in from Japan to tell me how to do my job. Yeah, they're paying your bills. They get to tell you what to do. So zip it, ask questions if you want, and change the environment and make it more colorful.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
that's
when people would complain about our customers at Loan Depot, which, you know, at Loan Depot, it's mortgages, right? And so if the borrower is upset about something, you know, sometimes employees would complain, and it could become a little toxic. You know what I mean? With their toxic complaining. And it's like, you always had to remind people that without them, the lights are not on. You are not sitting here today. That money you have in your bank account is gone.
Yep.
You never made it. You got to treat them like gold. Okay? They're not going to be right all the time. Nobody is. That's life. Doesn't mean you should be rude to them.
Mm-hmm.
Use that as an opportunity to teach them in a kind way. And if they still want to do it, like you said, Nick, sometimes they want to do stuff that you know is not a good idea. And as an employee, you let them know that. You try to guide them. But if they still persist, you do what they ask you to do. I was reading some of the comments on that post too, and I didn't see Mike Odyssey's comment until just now. It's pretty funny though. But this is in relation to what we're talking about. And he said, look, if I hire someone to paint my house and I have very clear directions on how I want my house to be painted, from the color, the style, the location, and then the painter comes out and tells me that if I'm not directly connected to painting the house and putting a brush to the wall, stay out of the way and keep to myself. Dude, it is literally like the same thing. You know what I mean? It's mind numbing. Yeah, I'm glad he doesn't work there anymore.
What a crazy attitude to have at your employer. Yeah. Like, I understand not everyone enjoys where they work. Like, maybe his situation was Retro was the only place that would hire him, and that's just kind of how he got into the job.
Yeah.
But also, like, if they're the only place that can hire you, beggars can't be choosers. Like,
right. Yeah.
So at a certain point, you kind of just gotta suck it up and do the job.
It's pretty prestigious too. I mean, like, if that's where you got hired, you're working with some legendary IP. Like, you should really, really be happy that you're working here at Retro. Like, obviously, none of us have ever worked there, but what you get to work with and who you get to learn from, because your managers, you may not talk to Nintendo. They probably don't talk to Nintendo at all. But that guy's manager, the leadership there, they do talk to Nintendo, and they learn from Nintendo. And then if you learn from your management, now you're learning from Nintendo. Yep. I don't know. Like, I would just be so excited to have the opportunity to be a fly on the wall and learn from Nintendo if I was, a game developer, a designer. Like, God, what a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's good. And like, I don't know. It'd be one thing if he experienced it firsthand, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
they're
that
actively
too.
changing
Like,
my
it's-
work. But to go and 15 years later, seems like this would have been relevant to bring up, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe. But 15 years later. 2, hearsay from other people who may have also just been over exaggerating what they were going through. Like maybe they didn't like what was happening, so they blew it out of proportion and vented to him after work one day, and he just ran with that 15 years later. Like,
That's what
Yeah.
it felt like.
I don't know.
And
Seems like a weird time to bring it up.
and then in there he notes, by the way, I'm not saying it's not a good game. Okay, so you're not even saying the changes ruined the game. So what are we talking about then?
I'm not saying it's a bad game, but
Yeah.
also
By the
Wii
way,
sucks.
it's in the background of your video and clearly something you consider a highlight of your career. Oh, by the way, fuck
Definitely
Nintendo.
on your resume, but I hate this
Yeah.
company.
But
by
I
the
hate
way.
this company. Fuck Nintendo. But hey, it's in the background of my video. One of the biggest games I've ever worked on. But hey, thank you so much. I don't. Well, Eric, what do you think, man? Is more on the outside? What are we thinking, buddy?
I mean, to be fair, being micromanaged does suck. But again, as we said, it wasn't him. And to a certain extent, there is, oh God, where the hell was I going with this again? I had it in my head. I lost it. Son of a bitch. Yeah, right. I mean, there's also a difference between them giving feedback every once in a while on, hey, can you tweak this? Can you tweak this? Can you tweak this? Versus, every day standing over your shoulder, breathing down your neck, going, this needs to be done this way. And this, it feels like they had some wiggle room to do what they wanted, but yet, can you make it work this way? Just a small tweak here or small tweak there. That doesn't seem like it's extreme micromanagement. It seems like, hey, can we just do this instead type of thing?
Yeah. They're not asking
That's
you to
me.
start from scratch.
Right. They're not
Like,
down.
you know what I mean?
They completely changed the design of your of like the shoulder pad situation. It had to do with Samus. They weren't completely changing your design of Samus. They asked you to make an alteration to the shoulder pad. Like, okay. And if you don't like it, like, here's the thing, because it's hearsay. It's like, okay, did that employee ever ask why do they want that alteration? Because if they never asked why, if they didn't ask why, then they're just bitching to bitch because they didn't want to know the answer.
Yeah.
They
Which
just
is
didn't want to do the
There
work either,
probably
too.
is an answer.
But-
And maybe they do know the answer. Maybe this guy's just blowing it out of proportion because he has an axe to grind,
And we honestly,
And we'll
we
never
weren't
know.
there. We were maybe
never know.
maybe they were toxic. I mean, we were never there. Maybe they were assholes. You never know. But the way he expressed it and stuff like that, not being firsthand, I think is the biggest problem. We just don't know.
Yeah. Then he just bitched about his job in general, which I thought was weird. Like,
it
oh
just
yeah,
reminds me.
if I move a
of,
wall,
like,
I have to do this and that. I'm like, yeah, because that's how they make games.
it reminds me of when corporate visits. Like in any job you guys have had, you ever had corporate come visit your location or your store?
Oh, yeah.
And you, what do
Oh,
your
yeah.
managers say? Or what do the managers say? Or the directors are like, hey, corporate's coming in today.
Yeah, it's always a warning. Like, hey, don't
It's
fuck
always a
around
warning.
today.
And then a lot
Today
of
ain't the day.
managers don't handle it well.
No,
Like,
they
you
freak
get-
out.
I never did, because I know that what I'm doing is correct.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of managers that I've worked with, you can literally feel the stress radiating off their body, and
Oh, yeah.
they're like transferring it to everybody else. And everyone's suddenly walking on eggshells thinking that, oh my God, what's going to happen? Are they going to think I'm doing something wrong? And it just turns into this whole negative emotions everywhere when it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't need to be viewed that way. And it feels like that's how he viewed it. Like when Nintendo comes, it's like when corporate visits, because that's what it is.
Mhm.
They're literally flying in to see you guys. They're probably staying at a hotel down the street. And this is a normal thing. And this is when they come to give feedback, to do a checkup on you guys. This happens all the time. in any job I've worked at. I've been on the receiving end and I've been on the end where I'm at corporate and I'm giving the feedback. This is normal stuff, man. No one's out there to fire you.
Yeah.
Have some confidence in what you do. It's
Sure.
just, there's so many things wrong with this. I don't want to beat a dead horse. Let's talk
Yeah.
Switch 2.
Hell yeah.
There we go. Get to a fun conversation, shall we? So, I mean, where do I even begin? There's so much going on with Switch 2. It's been a wild and crazy week. You know, let's start with you know, how about a fellow YouTuber? How about a guy who's been very successful in Switch Up? He has a nice little video here that I can show you guys. Let me go ahead and mute it. He got his hands on what appears to be a 3D printed prototype. So not like from Nintendo, but like the accessory maker, Ivaler, right? Ivaler, something like that. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it. Sent him this prototype you're seeing right now. The whole idea was to promote the Switch 2 case and all of that. Obviously, get people thinking, hey, we want to trust this company with our case purchase for Switch 2. They're probably for sale now or for pre-order. There's a ton of accessories for pre-order right now. We have more to get into because some wild stuff going on out there. But what's interesting about this is it kind of gives us, assuming that this is correct, which you have to go with that assumption to even have a conversation, because this is clearly based on like CAD files or something that they were given to make their accessories. They 3D printed this thing. They were asking content creators. Some Nation was asked, apparently. Possibly. I wasn't asked. Damn it. Anyways, no.
And
so
I passed up on it. Damn it. This could have been.
I think Arlo passed up on it too. I think he said he was asked to, and he passed up on it. This guy didn't. And congrats to him. His video is blowing up as it deserves to. He did a really good job. He's not someone who does all these Switch 2 content. So like this is a really big deal for him to see. Just the interest level in Switch 2 is so high. 100,000 plus on his video. It's probably even higher now. So he gets this thing. I'm going to go through this whole video here and just look at it. What's fascinating, of course, is we get our first real size comparisons, comparing it to things like the Switch OLED, right? Because all the size comparisons we have, like screens and stuff like that, we're always like, oh, we're just looking at it compared to the base Switch. Well, this is what it is right here. And what I find interesting, you know, just even pausing just for a second, is every single thing we see on this thing lately has white Joy-Cons.
It's interesting.
I find that very interesting. It's always white.
And I feel like it shouldn't be because that's what they launched the OLED model with. Is the only thing.
It's weird.
You know what I mean?
Like
it's
their
just
last
too
new
close.
system was white.
Yeah.
So then starting with white, but then maybe their idea is, but we want it to look different, but still stylish than the Switch 1, like the OG. But it just kind of feels like, yeah, but like kind of, will people confuse that with the OLED? By the way, the packaging is not going to be confusing. They just call this Nintendo Switch 2. It'll be very obvious what it is. And I'm starting to think that might actually just be the name. But just looking at this like general thing here, the biggest thing you can see is, I don't know if this company knows the screen is going to be like this big a bezel. I think that's interesting to see. It's got that more of that edge-lit bezel, kind of like the OG Switch for the LCD. That might make some people upset that we're hoping for like mini LED or something. But I don't know if they know that information or if this is just what they stuck on. They're assuming there would be that nice big bezel. We've seen the two buttons again, the square and the circle, with the C on it. Do you guys have any theories on what the C is for? Because we kind of have a capture button already.
I think
it's still
C
there
is for capture. Is that not the home and the capture are on the same side?
So home button
Switch
is on the
currently?
right. No, home button's on the right and capture's
on the left currently. Yeah, so that's an additional button. I've thought about that. The only thing that I've really thought that might make sense, and it doesn't tie to the C, if it's actually C on the label, unless if that became the capture button and then the one on the left,
the other one, yeah.
So let's say the other one is maybe like there's, you know how on a PlayStation controller you have a microphone and maybe, you know, we're gonna do online chat for the first time on Nintendo Switch Online. Who knows?
Yeah,
but if it is there at a system level, I can see it being like a mute button if there's a microphone built into the Joy-Con. But I don't know that we've really seen that suggested for sure. So that's the only idea. I don't know what else that button would be, the additional button.
What if it's a back button? Like a universal back button. So we're no longer using...
You know what I thought it could be for? A sub menu for quick resume. If they add that feature in.
That would be nice.
I mean, I know they could do that with other buttons, but like some of the games use plus and minus.
That
The home
12
button-
gigs
the
of
ho-
RAM.
Home
coming
button will
in.
always just take you home. So, yeah, it would be kind of cool if there is a quick resume feature.
Or even just like a side menu that pops up in, like kind of how if you're on a series, even PlayStation, Series
Steam Deck
X or
does
S, you have Steam Deck, PlayStation. If you hit it's not going home, but it's opening up like a home style menu where you can get to other parts of the operating system while you're still in a game.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
maybe
there are
they
people
want
who
to
thought
separate that.
There was also people that, and I see it in the chat too, where people think, well, the C button, what if it's a camera? What if they put a camera and the C button's a way to turn the camera off? Like a shutter button or something. That just kind of makes it so it doesn't work because people don't want it on all the time, It could be. I think, like people only ever trust if you cover the camera, right? It's like, I think like a slider at the top that slides over the camera lens would make more sense for that. But, I have no idea. Here we see it next to the Steam Deck. Obviously, it's smaller than the Steam Deck, so that's good because the Steam Deck's a beefy boy, very beefy boy. But what's interesting is it's a pretty significant screen size upgrade.
I was just about to mention that. I was kind of shocked when he put I think that was the OLED he was comparing it to, and the whole thing basically fits in the screen of the Switch too.
Yep,
like that. That blows my mind. That it's like I don't even know how to comprehend that. I don't even know how to.
It's a big screen. I mean, look, we've been hearing 8 inches for a while. No confirmation on it because the shipping data doesn't really have any details for the screen. It just has screens. It's a very general term they're using. But I mean, it's big. I think what's nice about it though is when he holds it next to the Switch OLED, which he does a little bit later, it's not so big that it looks like a monster next to the Switch OLED. It's kind of just like a little bit bigger. It's one of those things that if you didn't have a Switch OLED next to you, you might not realize that it's that much bigger. It might just feel like a Switch OLED because Switch OLED is already bigger than the OG Switch. So I do like that. Also, he does a Joy-Con comparison later as well, and we'll have another one from an accessory maker that I find really interesting because the Joy-Cons are bigger, which for me with big hands makes me happy. But right now he's like comparing, the tops of the buttons. And one thing I did notice is if this stuff is correct, which we don't know, obviously the one cartridge slot, the headphone jack, when he moves his finger here in a bit, the air vents, man, there's a lot more ventilation on this system. So I don't know if that's an indicator of just they want to use a bigger fan. They're trying to dissipate even more heat because of the power. But that's some pretty beefy air things in. Obviously, you get your volume buttons and your power there, which are just they're not actual buttons. This is just a little print. One thing that I think is now incorrect is when he shows the back, it has like this. It has like the Switch OLED style kickstand cut out on the back. We now have an update from an accessory manufacturer that made a case that shows that it looks like it's the U-shaped design. We'll get to that a little bit later. But obviously the point of them printing this was for one, they want attention for their products, and two, so they had the right dimensions to make like cases and stuff. Because that's like a Switch OLED design on the back, and that's apparently not what the kickstand's like. And I'll show a product that shows it better. We have that USB-C port at the top too. Do you guys have any ideas what that port's for besides like just another way to charge the system?
My initial thought, because I remember I don't remember if it was the CAD files or the images came out or something that said there was the USB-C port, and then like a week or two later, they announced Alarmo, and it is powered via USB-C. So my thought was you could do something like that where you can integrate it to the Switch. If like my Switch is on the TV stand over here, and I could run a USB-C cord and have the Alarmo on my TV stand, and then it's plugged into the Switch. You could do that, or it could just be it's set on the table and I want to charge it without having to buy an extra charging stand to hold it up, and I don't necessarily want to hold it, and you can just plug it in from the top. It really could be anything, honestly.
Yeah, I'm really leaning on that more maybe there's some accessories that we're not thinking of that will come out for the console, but I think it fixes the not being able to charge it while it's got the dock, or while it's got the kickstand out. And then I think that a lot of like even wired headsets now are USB-C instead of the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So I could just see them having both right next to each other like that, because it's like, what if you have that headset instead of the 3.5 millimeter jack? So I could see that just being as simple as that, and that's all it is.
Did Apple switch over? Do they still have wired earbuds?
Yes.
Yeah, they
Are
do.
They,
and
they're
have,
USB-C now?
They're USB-C. Yeah.
Ah, that might be part of it. Yeah.
It's just they just don't come with the phones anymore.
I can see it being like it could literally just be for that, and then an alternative charging way, because a lot of devices you could charge through any USB-C port. And I bring that up because one of the fatal flaws of Switch, if you play in TV mode, is you can't charge it without using some sort of get up to hold it up, because you're setting it down, the cord's going to push it up. You literally can't like charge it conveniently in like when it's sitting on your little side table, your night table or whatever. So it could literally just be, hey, we want to take in consideration that USB-C headphones are more popular, and hey, we want to give you an alternative way to charge in certain situations where it would be more convenient to plug it in through the top. That's entirely possible. There could also be other ones. People, remember that old was it that Chinese YouTuber or whatever that like talked about a camera module that could plug into it. So like that could be a thing too, going back to the old Game Boy days where we have little modules we can plug in. Oh, look, Switch 2 printer coming.
I don't think it will happen, but I see a lot of hope, surprisingly more hope than I'd think. But a lot of people comment on stuff like on videos, and I think I've seen it in the chat a couple times. There's a lot of people that want that to be primarily for a dual screen attachment.
Oh my goodness!
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But I think there's just a lot of fond memories from the DS era, and obviously it would be nice to have an easy way to emulate DS and 3DS games through NSO, but that's not going to be what it is.
Yeah, I don't think so. Obviously, we have those extra buttons on the back that we've seen a bunch of times. Does anyone think that's anything other than the release mechanism?
I think it's release.
It's pretty. It's beefy. There must be one thing that makes me happy about how beefy that is that if that is the release mechanism, then whatever the connection is, I know like magnets, but if there's other stuff involved, that to me makes me feel like the connection's much more secure. Yes. Like we're not going to be dealing with wobble this generation, really. You'd have to really force wobble to happen for wobble to be a thing.
Yeah.
That's really what I'm hoping.
If it's going in sideways instead of coming up.
Because the prototypes, like it looked thicker too. Like there's more of a connection to like really keep that solid. It's kind of cool if that Nintendo maybe even wanted to address that as a problem. Because like maybe they've noticed while they're sitting there on their planes that, oh, my Switch just slipped off my Joy-Cons because it's wobbly as shit. Plus the crappy design of using those plastic tabs. I just don't even know why.
Yeah, when I held a light Switch Lite for the first time, I was like, this is like it's one solid piece, and I didn't realize how much that kind of bothered me. When you have a grip on or something, it helps to not notice that as much. But still, I want out of the box no wobble with the Joy-Cons. It'll make it feel so much more premium if you just can't physically move them while they're attached.
Yeah, if they can make it feel as solid as the Switch Lite but still be able to detach, I think that's the dub.
Yep.
Like that just makes it feel like a more premium product, especially since we presume this will obviously be more expensive than a Switch OLED. So the only other real big thing out of this video, and I want to see if I can pause it at the right angle, is it looks like they've changed some of the angles with the Joy-Cons, if this is correct. So we have like a bit more of a rounded at the top, a bit more like a more tapered, rounded edge up by the shoulder buttons, which I find to be interesting. And then it seems to, if you like grab a Joy-Con, it seems to kind of taper down, like going out towards the edge. He tries to capture it. It doesn't quite get a great angle at it, but there's one particular angle that by accident kind of shows it. I'm going to see if I can grab it when he gets closer to that section. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's going to like help us sit better in the palm a little bit and be a bit more comfortable? Because they didn't. The big thing is they didn't add any girth on the back, like any to give you like a grip. So like grips are still going to be a thing, which accessory makers are probably happy with.
Mm-hmm. Satisfy what?
Yeah, Satisfy's probably completely thrilled. We already know about a grip from them coming.
Nah, we know how thrilled they are.
Yeah, so I'm very curious. Like, do you guys think that like I'm holding my Switch? Do you think like that would help with ergonomics a little bit? Because like this is the only reason I think you would make that change would be for ergonomics.
I think it'll help slightly. I think the biggest thing that's going to help though is just those Joy-Cons being physically bigger, because that's honestly the only thing I cannot, like, I had to put these Joy-Cons on because I was using these Nixie controllers instead. I mean, just I have to have something more to grip than just the small Joy-Cons on the side. I mean, it really, or I have to have a Satisfy grip on, which I also have. But yeah, if it helps with that, plus I can see it. If there's a bigger footprint of the Joy-Con itself, and it does actually make sense why that would be declining there on the edge as I'm holding my Switch. I could just see it with a bigger footprint, that would probably make it feel a little bit more comfortable than having it flat all the way across like the current Joy-Cons are. So I think that's accurate. I think we probably end up seeing that in the final product.
Sure. Right there. Oh, there it was. We just had it. Let's see if I can get a pause on it. It's kind of hard. Somewhere in there. Okay. Oh, it's literally, it's only on screen for like 2 seconds. He's got the perfect angle to show the taper. Anyways, if you guys have seen it, as I'm kind of like clicking around trying to find like the right still spot, because I can't do every second. And there's definitely like a taper to it. I can imagine maybe that adds some slight comfortability. I don't know for sure. Obviously, because I'm not holding the product, so it'd be easier. That's why I wish I had it. I could hold it and give like a comfort and fit feel comparison instead of just saying that it's different. To just be like, hey, as someone that has really big hands, like, is this actually more comfortable by just kind of changing the angles and the curves a little bit? And then just being bigger, like, is that enough, or am I holding this and going, man, I still need a grip for this, or I still need third party ones? Third party ones will always be popular. Right here is like a good look at like the size difference between like normal Joy-Con and then the new ones. They're obviously a pretty decent amount bigger, which to me just naturally feels like that would be better for my hands. Because I just bigger, grubbier hands. It kind of feels like this would be perfect, but who knows? It's interesting that they didn't go for a crazier redesign. I think that's like one of the things that most people, a lot of reactions were like, oh, so this thing literally just looks the same as Switch. And I think that's the idea. I think they know what Switch is. Switch is in high demand. Why would we go with some crazy different look?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the white Joy-Con is like the one thing that's like, okay, but what do they go with some crazy color scheme at launch that doesn't look professional? Like, you figure if Nintendo's trying to keep this to be sleek and like appealing to young adults, you kind of go with gray, black, or white. That's kind of the neutral colors you use. And all of those already exist on the current Switch. So like, I don't really know. Like, oh, you can go with the neon. Yeah, but they did the neon red and blue, but they also had the black, right? So maybe it could be one of those things like, oh, the white's one option, and then there is like an alternate colorway at launch because they could go with two different colorways. And we just haven't seen what that colorway is. Or maybe it's just literally black and white, and that's the colorways. Like, it could just be that simple. I do just think, like, looking at this reminds me so much of like a new iPhone, a new Samsung Galaxy.
Yep.
That like this, they're using a number. I can't see how they do anything but use a number. Okay. Anyone disagree with that? Like, if it's going to basically look exactly like a Switch, you can't call like, oh, it's Switch Attach. What? No,
that's actually sadly the only name that I think that they would go with over Switch 2 being Nintendo, but I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, and if I'm seeing this and this is what it actually looks like, I'm like, dude, it's just a bigger Switch.
Yeah, it needs to be called Switch 2. And I actually am now leaning more towards that than ever before. Not to mention that this is kind of maybe a different leak, but the whole Foxconn financial report.
Oh, yeah.
And so does that not line up almost perfect timing? Because it's November results with when we saw that individual who had supposedly uploaded a badge ID that was a Foxconn employee, and they were the ones saying that there was a Switch logo and a 2 right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, assuming they're legitimately sending out finalized products to Nintendo in their warehouses, which is what has to happen for these to appear on Foxconn's financial reports that they're putting out there as revenue earned. It's the timing lines up, and I mean, I guess it's not the most verifiable source or anything like that, but I just thought that was interesting that we're hearing this kind of stuff from Foxconn, and that was a Foxconn employee. And also that I believe that individual also said that it was a U-shaped kickstand, like I think we're about to get to as well.
Yeah. So like the U-shaped kickstand's this thing. So this is over on the Baidu.com website, one of the social media websites. This is some more accessories. There's two in particular. These are just like those cheap plastic shells. Some people get just basic protection. And this is supposedly for the Switch 2. And this is like the back part. You could clearly see the U-shaped cutout to keep the kickstand usable. That's the first time, by the way. So the U-shaped kickstand was always like rumored and talked about, but we've never had any physical evidence of it. Like we never saw on that prototype from October, we never saw the back. So we didn't get to see it. That 3D print we just had kind of looked like the same Switch OLED thing, but who knows? It wasn't workable or usable. We've only ever heard about it, and now we have an accessory that clearly has the cutout for it. Like, this is our first physical evidence that, that U-shaped kickstand's probably real. Why they go with that design over the other one? It could just be to be different. I don't know that it provides anything better. I think it's just as useful, but different. And they'd probably hide the micro SD card slot underneath it again.
Maybe they can make it flatter if it goes up higher and it's not
maybe more angles.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like maybe you could extend it out to where it's just slightly angled up. Like
some people would probably prefer that. Yeah, I prefer that. And some like when I'm laying in bed, I'd like maybe just a slight angle instead of flat.
Yeah, that's the only reason I can think of, because unless you just want a room for a big Switch logo with the 2 next to it on the back, and
I mean, maybe it works something like
your camera disconnected.
Oh, of course it did. Because why won't it? Here,
you move the whole computer. So what do you expect to happen? So he's talking about this thing that has all the custom angles on it that you can go like really high and really low. It's like a little electronic holder. It would be kind of cool. This is obviously a bit more complex to hold heavier things.
There we go. Yeah,
but yeah, it's I mean, again, the big thing here is just the direct evidence that, hey, the U-shaped thing is like a real thing. That's kind of the only significant part here, because we don't see any other angles on this, so we can't see if like the vents and everything lines up with the prototype that we saw. And then we have this, which is just more confirmation of what we already know. It's bigger, so the top one's a normal Switch 1, the bottom one's a Switch 2. Circle, square button next to each other. Literally the same thing that we've been seeing for a while, but it's just kind of more confirmation that's in the final design. And
I legitimately thought that was like a top and bottom cover.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought too. Yeah, it was. I translated some of the stuff, the text of the page. I was like, oh no, this is just comparing.
Okay, that would make sense on why because I couldn't figure out why you would have 2 holes on the back and the button cutouts for the bottom of it. So.
Yeah. So it's just to compare sizes of the exact same accessory from the exact same company for the different devices. This one's obviously much more used on the top. You can see scratches all over it, so they probably actually used it. But anyways, point is that it's just more confirmation of stuff we already know. I think what's wild, because we haven't even gotten to like the big news yet. Like there's some big crap we got to talk about, but just to wrap up sort of like all of this and the fact that we at this point we know mass manufacturing is going on. There's like no doubt anymore. They're literally shipping retail packages. The numbers are staying stupidly high over the course of September and now October. It's very clear it's in mass manufacturing. There's even data from like Foxconn that's supporting that they've probably sent a bunch of completed units to Nintendo now. So like it's kind of wild. There could potentially be millions of these things ready to be sold by the end of this year, and it might not be coming out for a little bit here. Not holiday, we'll get to that in a bit, but I think it's wild that because I don't remember this happening with Switch, like this many accessory manufacturers just being like, fuck it, here's what it looks like, we're making shit for it, you can pre-order now. And we're not just talking like Chinese ones. Zen Grip, Satisfy,
that was big.
That was huge. I was like, what? There's no way they got that already.
They're literally advertising the Zen Grip 2 for the next generation Switch right now. You can spend money and pre-order it now. They're claiming day one. I don't know how they can guarantee day one.
And literally put a shipping timeline of spring, which is even more wild.
Yeah, they put
Nintendo.
spring on. They had a video that had what we thought was a digital mock model of it in the grip, sort of in the background, and then they had to delete the video, and they had to delete the images of it off. So, like, we don't know if Nintendo made them do that or if they just did it for extra publicity. Obviously, we have I reached out to them. They haven't said anything, which I can imagine if Nintendo said something, they probably won't say anything because they can't. But it's because that's not some Chinese, no, that is a mainstay, well-known, Western-based company that is like, no, we're just straight up. You could pre-order Switch 2 stuff right now and spring. We're just giving you a release timing of spring.
How long do we think at the rate things are going? How long until we get like a Zelda OLED level
style leak
where
like
it's like, here's the box, here's
Mm-hmm.
inside the box with all of the stuff inside, and like I don't know, that OLED came out in May of 23. And we got the leaks for that at the beginning of January.
It was like
end of December.
It was December, yeah.
So if they're saying Switch 2 like April, May, June, I don't know. I give it like 2 more weeks, maybe 3 more weeks, and you could start seeing those kind of pictures come out of the manufacturing.
January. I kind of feel like for some reason we're going to somehow get past Christmas, and it's going to be like sometime in January.
That's why I really hope Nintendo does their first look trailer early January, because I do feel like the box is going to leak, and there's going to be a whole debate on if it's real or not, and it's going to end up being real.
They've kept things locked down, but here's the thing: the more that gets made, the more people that touch it, the bigger chances. So it's like by January, when they're at the time where they're making like 1 million of these a month, like someone's going to snap a photo. So I feel like Nintendo knows that, they've been able to keep it under wraps, but when it's at full production, it's going to happen. So, and I feel like it's already in mass production. It just might not be at maximum production, because usually you don't just go from 0 to max. You ramp up, and then you get, once we get to next year, they'll start to be at maximum production. So I think January is kind of like, if they don't reveal it at some point in early January, they sincerely, look, we're already getting Switch Up has literally what it might look like. It might just literally look like that. It might have basically already happened. and it's not even from a factory. It's just, hey, maybe we should have gave Nintendo's probably second guessing, giving all these accessory manufacturers all the dimensions now, aren't they? Because they probably didn't think this was going to happen, because they probably did it with Switch and it didn't happen with Switch. So but then they're like, oh, maybe the accessory manufacturer's like, well, it's just a bigger Switch.
Well,
what's
also,
the big deal?
These accessory manufacturers probably didn't know that the Switch, they might have thought it was going to be another Wii U, So like they didn't know they were going to have a big user base.
We didn't have a ton of accessories at launch.
Yeah,
really didn't.
Now you have the 140 million plus install base of the Switch, and then you're looking at, okay, well, a lot of these people are going to upgrade. They're going to do it day one. We need to have our stuff ready to go day one. You know what? The hell with it. Let's give them the pre-order links before Nintendo's even announced it. Like that. That's what it seems like they're doing.
Yeah. So,
sorry.
Yeah, no, go on.
It feels like these manufacturers are getting kind of ballsier and ballsier. It's going to be, I think after Christmas, somebody's just going to say fuck it and just, here's what it looks like.
Oh, dude, what if someone drops it on Christmas Day?
That'd be crazy.
Merry Christmas, motherfuckers.
Like, Jesus, Nintendo. I get it. Holiday sale stuff, blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows it's coming.
For how much stuff has come out, I gotta say, it is shocking the leak hasn't happened already. So kudos to Nintendo and the people working with them, that we haven't been able to get a legit snap of it yet out in public, because we got 3D prints, we got accessories, we got all, but technically none of it is the actual system. So it's pretty. Now, granted, it might literally just look like what we already just saw from Switch Up, but it's pretty wild. And obviously, seeing something powered on in general would be pretty wild. Speaking of that, before we get to the biggest news out of this, we have a couple things that seem to be confirmed at this point for Switch 2 that we've learned over the last week. One of those is because Nintendo is hiring an engineer. The engineer requires to have experience working with SD Express. That's really, really good news because they've never had that as a requirement in any prior engineer hires. That likely means that it's a technology they're already using. We know Switch doesn't use SD Express. That probably means Switch 2 does support the faster, aka the fastest micro SD cards out there. The newer ones that aren't quite as standard, but they do exist. And now there's even rumors that there are some companies that are waiting to start mass manufacturing them until Switch 2 is announced. But they technically already exist. Samsung and a couple others have some SD Express out there. They're just faster. It's just period. I mean, there's really not much more to say. They're faster than micro SD cards, and they're going to allow, when you put games on it, to load faster. It'll never be as fast as the internal storage. That's just never the case. But being able to have that faster speed will make there be less of a difference between internal storage load speeds and external. So it's just good to have, and it's good future proofing. If they plan for the system to be out 5, 6, 8 years, it's going to be cheaper in 3, 4, 5 years. So it makes sense to kind of future proof yourself a little bit, and hey, help out the developers that like want everything on the internal storage anyways, to get a little bit faster speeds for their game loading and stuff. You want to add to that, Thunderstash?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that when that news came out, of course, I did some research on it because I want to know all about this. And I had read an article from Samsung's semiconductor website from February 28th of this year. And essentially what they're saying is it's going to be 4 times faster than the current fastest SD card. And I was reading about speeds of up to 800 megabytes per second starting out, but that there shouldn't be a problem getting the speeds up to 1,000 to 1,200, which is awesome, super fast. And I was looking to see like who's selling these, what sizes they come in, and so far the only sizes I've seen is the 128 and the 256. I have not seen a 512 or 1 terabyte anywhere. And then I did see that SanDisk also has an SD Express version. I think they use a slightly different name. But again, like you said, Nate, point is that they're going to be way faster. And I would be willing to bet that the 1 terabytes will be coming out right at the same time as Switch 2.
Yeah, there's no mainstream device right now that really supports it, because you can port them in normal micro SD card slots, but then just buy a normal micro SD because it can't read it fast enough. So you have to have devices that have the right reader for it to get the speeds. There's just no mainstream device that supports it yet. So that's why it's been really a slow adoption, because there hasn't, for the most part, devices that use micro SD, they don't really need it to be faster. But then you get to gaming, and yes, actually, we do need it to be faster, but no one supports it yet. So,
yeah, this is going to be the way, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to start popping up also in all the handheld PCs down the line. As soon as Nintendo does it and they start to become plentiful, all the handheld PCs are going to do it as well. So,
yeah, I'm excited. I'll definitely be picking up one of these cards.
Oh yeah,
for sure, day one.
Yeah,
because we know we're going to need them.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Gotta get that Legend of Zelda edition. Make sure,
yeah.
Pay triple for it.
Right. So the other thing is this, guys. You can check for yourself. Nintendo updated the Nintendo Switch operating system. If you go to the system information under the settings on your Switch right now, you don't need me to. You can go to Central Leaks and other places. You don't need it. If you have a Switch, you can already see this. They included something new in the system information. BEE-006. We know from shipping documents that is the Nintendo Switch 2 cartridge. So why is your Nintendo Switch operating system publicly on every Switch referencing a Switch 2 cartridge code? Well, if you think back to data mines that also had the code name of Switch 2 in the operating system, Ounce, which we kind of known for a while that was the code name, but then got definite confirmation with the Pokemon Terra leak that is the code name. So we kind of already figured it back then, but we had no public confirmation, and it could just be development stuff. Well, this is now public. It's in the system information that the operating system supports Switch 2 cartridges. It's going to be using the same OS on Switch 2. So, one, that's good news for backwards compatibility and all that stuff. Makes it really smooth. We're not going to be booting into a Wii mode, right? Like, glad that we set that fear aside. No fucking Wii mode, thank God. Not that I thought they would do that, but they did it before, so I'm gonna put it past them to be like, oh yeah, we're backwards compatible. You got to reboot your system. God, that would be so annoying. However, the fear that a lot of people have is, oh, it's just the same OS. How are we gonna know it's even a Switch 2 when we turn it on? And this is boring. No, being the same operating system doesn't mean that it's literally gonna function exactly the same. As an example, Windows 11 functions a little different than Windows 10, but Windows 11 is built on Windows 10. Just throwing it out there. It's like iOS 18. Yeah, it's built on the prior version of iOS. This is just really great for backwards compatibility, but also I want to get rid of that fear that it means there won't be any new features on Switch 2's operating system or UI elements just because it happens to use. It'll just be features that are only on Switch 2. So the operating system a Switch operating system could have these features. They just recognize we're on a Switch. So no, turn off. Recognize we're on a Switch 2, turn on. That already happens on a lot of modern devices, by the way. Hell, Windows does that. They like all the features that are on the Pro version are on the home version, but they just turn them off. Then they unlock when you have the Pro version. It's stupid, but that's just how software works. So let's turn this around a bit, because this is crazy that this is even the Nintendo. Now this is just Nintendo. We've been talking about third parties, accessory makers, rumor people. Now Nintendo is just like, yeah, fuck it. We already announced backwards compatibility. Fuck it. See if people figure this out. Yeah, Switch 2 cartridges referenced on your Switch right now. So, that being the case, what do you want to change with the current operating system for Switch 2?
Can we just get the elephant out of the room and just say themes? Like, I think we all want themes. That's like pretty general consensus. Like, everybody wants new themes. Okay, yeah, okay. Now that we've got that out of the way, I for one would really love some music. If like the Wii had very simple music, but it like added character. It added like something. Same for the Wii U. Like Wii U had very simple music, right? Same goes for the eShop. I think the eShop having music would be great, but that's a different thing. One thing I would like that I do appreciate that Xbox does is you get to make categories, and those categories, and I know the Switch has groups, but they're very hard to get to. Whereas like on my Xbox, I literally can open that like side home and all my groups are right there. So I can easily get to my streaming services. Here's all my downloaded games, like very easy. I want that for Switch, where you can open a quick menu and be like, here's a group of all your streaming services, like your Crunchyroll, Hulu, whatever, YouTube, right? And then
can we get those services, please?
Yeah, it would be great if we could have Netflix.
Yeah. Can we just have them, please? That'd be nice.
But then also for your games, so you can say like, oh, here's all of my online games. Here's all of my single player games. Here's all my RPGs. Like you can access them a lot quicker and a lot easier instead of having to scroll all the way over, go into all games. Like I think that's just like very simple, very easy, and would just improve the quality of life of the Switch just ever so slightly.
I have said this, like I like the simplicity of Switch. I like how it's very simple. It's just about games, but they don't always let me get to the games quickly, unless it's something I've played very recently. Can't get to it quickly. There's a lack of customization on how we organize our games, and I want that to change. Like we have a few settings you can change about what appears on your home screen, but I pretty much just leave it on the default. What have you been playing lately? Because it's probably the things I'm going to play most, at least in the moment. But I can't put any folders. Why can't I put a multiplayer game folder and pin it to my home screen? So when I do want to play my multiplayer games, I just tap that and here they all are. or whatever the folder is, right? It doesn't have to be that. Just having that customizability is something that is kind of missing. Also, this is a bigger screen, and our TVs are massive. Do we have to have only one row? Like, does it have to only be one row?
Could also have it change, and you can add rows. That was something that 3DS did. Where you could make it bigger and have one row, or you can make it smaller and have like 10 rows straight down.
It should be fully customizable. Yeah.
You should be able to choose how many rows you have. And then, like, if you have one row, then take better advantage of the space and, like, do, like, some of those custom UIs that we've seen out there do. Like, give us more information on the game when we're going over it. Like, hey, when was the last time I played this game? Just tell me. Last time you played was this day. Here's how many hours you played in the game. And, like, whatever general information on, or hey, is there a new DLC update? Like, you can have like a notification for that on the game, in case I want to decide to go get that. Because like it just kind of feels like, as simplistic as this is, and I love how simple this is. Like this is just clean, it's nice, but also there's a lot of just dead space that probably could do a little something with, especially when you are over the game and you're on it. Like I feel like it could open up and give me some more info on some stuff. And that kind of just extends to the whole UI. More information when I'm looking at my friends list. Being able to manage the friends list better would be nice. As an example, why can't I delete more than one friend at a time? This is basic. Just open up a menu so I can just click check, or even a delete all or delete last 20. Just something. And obviously, this is a unique situation. Not everyone's going to be like a content creator that has a bunch of like YouTube members and everyone's trying to add you, and you just don't have room for all of them because for some reason we can't have 7,000 friends. I don't know why. It's very little data, but we can't. They limit it. That's another thing. Maybe open that limit a bit so I can have more friends. But like being able to manage your friends list better. Being able to manage just everything in general, like Switch, even today in 2024, when you look at it, it just still feels kind of bare bones. And there is some simplicity to that. And I'm sure there's a huge culture around that loves like that sort of simplicity. But I think it's okay to mess it up a little bit just to be more convenient to do certain things. Like if there's new news on a game that I have on my home screen, I should have some sort of notification on that game rather than having to go to a separate news section to know there's new news. Like the news section is great. I'm not saying get rid of it. They could revamp it and do some cool things with it. And I know some of you guys out there use that news. So some of you guys, literally, that's where you get all your Nintendo news. Hey, you don't like the leaks, the rumors, the speculation. Nintendo's got a news tab for you right on your Switch. You want to stick to the official stuff. Granted, did they put the new Donkey Kong trailer in that news tab today?
I have not opened up the news tab, and
I'm gonna open it right now.
I open up the news tab specifically to clear the little notification bubble, and that's it.
So Nick, on your phone, you don't have any red notification icons.
Oh no, I do. Like okay. YouTube, I specifically do not check my notifications because I like to see how high I can let that number get. But on Twitch, no, get that little blue dot out
dude,
of
here. The latest is a Fortnite goes first person with ballistic tactical 5v5 shooter, blah blah blah. There's nothing on here about that Donkey Kong trailer, which I find fascinating because that's a Nintendo first party thing. But then again, if you ever try watching trailers on your Switch, you might.
Not ideal.
You might know why maybe they're not putting that on there. It's not a good look for the system. It's a little dated. That being said, I'm just saying, like in general, just general UI improvement. Like I don't think they need to make it crazy different. Like go with some of these crazy UI redesigns. But I do think just going with something that feels like this is new. So it just feels new while like iPhone does that sometimes. And I know a lot of the new is just jacking Android features, but it's still just, it feels new while feeling familiar. And I don't know what that is. That's for their UI design team and everyone else to sort out. But obviously being able to customize just anything should just be allowed in general. You guys got anything else?
Has everyone seen the PS5?
Yes.
Yeah.
The 30th anniversary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
I mentioned this in my video tomorrow, Thunderstash. She said, no joke. It's already filmed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is so good. It's just so classic. I've always been a fan of like console startup screens, right? And PS1 is definitely iconic. The sound, I don't know why, it's just something that's always stuck with me. When I think about Nintendo startups, the GameCube is just super classic.
GameCube Instant comes to mind every time I think Nintendo.
It's so good. And I would like to see some sort of cool startup, honestly. I think that'd be nice. That was one thing. But
yeah, there really is nothing, is there?
No, there
it
isn't.
Just turns on.
Yeah.
Hit your home button.
And I get it. It's fast and all that. And, maybe people don't want to sit through it, but
I also think for the hardware,
enjoyable.
I think for the hardware Switch they had to worry about speed a lot because they had pretty weak stuff under the hood.
Makes sense. But with these themes, though, for the 30th anniversary, like it's an actual theme. It's not just the startup. It's the whole user interface. It's the sound effects in the menu. Like there's little touches everywhere. Like it's using the PS1 sound effects when you move to and highlight a different game. It makes a different sound. Yeah. It's just really good. And all I was thinking
3DS
when I was
had
doing
stuff
this is like, man, we got Nintendo's 40th anniversary next year. What are you guys gonna do? Like, you gonna do anything? Because this is great. If you need ideas, do this.
Mario,
this is really good, man. Yeah, so I know, Nick, obviously you mentioned themes right at the get-go because that is a big thing.
Do you guys remember? You guys remember for when they did some Mario themed stuff in the eShop, and you were like, "Oh, this is kind of cool," but it's like running at like 2 FPS.
Yeah,
it's like,
that could be a problem.
It's like, okay, Nintendo clearly wants to do this, but like
when you were downloading the game on the Wii.
No, on Switch. On Switch.
Wow.
They tried a little bit of like during anniversaries have like Mario stuff on the eShop, like little Mario running and stuff, and it was just really, really bad.
I like what they did with the eShop where they put like during those Mario events, the background changed.
Yeah,
it was the Mario, but then also they did have that running thing that clearly did not load very well. It's not great.
But here's the thing: we're just talking about the UI of your system overall. Like it should be able to run way better. It's running locally right in your system RAM. So I know we talked about themes, but like it's wild to think that like 3DS had themes. You could buy them. It changed it. It changed the sound effect. It did exactly what Thunder said. Like literally, Nintendo's done this, and they just didn't bring on a way weaker system, by the way, and they just didn't bring it back. And it's like free money, and it makes like people can spend. He can have like Club Nintendo, do they still call it Club Nintendo? Whatever the coins system they use.
Points, yeah,
like they still we'd use that to buy themes even.
Or just make it like have a like one from each franchise as a premium theme for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers.
Or a little bit of an achievement, baby. You see the ending of a Nintendo game, you get the theme for that game for the system.
That would be even better.
I really like that.
That's actually a good idea because that's a way to Nintendo up the achievements and trophy system. And they don't want to just do like the same thing as Sony and Microsoft. And I would just add real quick, I think that the biggest thing, and this is ridiculous because it literally makes Nintendo so much money, is the eShop should not be an app you hop into to begin with. It should be a tab, like hit the L button and it just tabs you over to the eShop, and it should feel the same and as responsive as going through the system menu. I mean, there is just, you are spending money on a Nintendo storefront. There is no reason for you to have to struggle to get to game pages, Yeah. And I really think that they could do that with every icon. Like if it's a game you already purchased, kind of like PlayStation 5 to compare to them. I really like the PS5 UI. It changes the background to the game that you're on. There's music that plays that's from that game most of the time. They're prepping you to get ready to press that play button. We had that with like the Wii on Twilight Princess. One of the coolest things was going to that, and then hearing the music kick in, you're like, oh, I'm getting ready to go into an adventure. They should do that on the games we own, but also whenever you go to the eShop, it should just be like whatever game you're highlighted on takes up the screen, shows you the information. It should all just be like a seamless thing, And so I really hope they overhaul that stuff. That's my biggest thing, is if they can get that stuff feeling responsive and not like where I literally have to click down less so I can let it catch up to me,
dude.
Scrolling through a list. It's insane.
It's a very poor shopping experience.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like imagine walking into a store and that's how your experience is. You have to literally wait for the games on the shelf to load. It's like, dude, You know what I mean? But for real, I think they need to like look at it in that vein.
Copy. What is happening?
Yeah. If they want to fix this, they need to look at it like that and be like, hey, how can we make this a really great experience where people want to spend time in the eShop? Because right now it is the complete opposite. I do not want to spend time there. I will look online to try and see if there's a game on sale on the eShop.
You know what's
and
funny?
If there is, I will manually search for it and buy it, and then I'm out of there.
A lot of people make like those eShop sales videos. I'm like, God, do they really suffer through the eShop? No, they just go to Deku Deals and see what the latest deals are, because you don't want to sit there for hours trying to find the deals to make the damn video, because it's so much loading.
It's horrible. It's just so bad. So that is such a big one. I will say I really do want to see Nintendo take a stab at achievements, trophies, whatever you want to call it.
I'm 100% with you. Oh, they got to do it this time.
I really think they should. I think they're missing out on multi-platform sales as well. I know there's a lot of people, and I don't think people should underestimate it, that will choose to buy a game on PlayStation or Xbox because they want either the achievements or the trophies. So if you don't have it, some people are going to skip your version. Like playing it in handheld won't be enough because they like the trophies. They like doing it. It would be so much fun with Nintendo. Nate, I talked to you about this before too. Like they have retro achievements now, like with retro games with, emulation. And it's so cool. And I'm just like starting to like, kind of dip my toes into that and see what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
But like one of the first games I looked up was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I'm like, oh, I wonder what kind of achievement there is for being Mike Tyson. And it's like, dude, Nintendo, these are your games. These are your IP. You should do this. Like that would be so much fun to get not only like achievements on current games, but on your backlog. That would be really fun. And I love the idea of themes. Like imagine if you got the platinum on a game, whatever Nintendo's version of that is, and you get the theme.
Absolutely.
There's so many great ideas you guys have came up with that I really hope Nintendo finally does it. Everyone has it. Steam has it. And Steam's coming out with their own console, it seems, from what we've heard, right? The Steam box. So that's finally going to be a thing. I think you got to do it, man.
Yeah. So this leads to the big news. Good old Nate the Hate. Now, I put this caveat in my video. It made some people upset that he was wrong about the March reveal this year. But that's okay. Things happen. Things move quickly in this industry. Nintendo changes things on a dime, and almost all this information always comes from third-party companies, right? So, like, not directly from Nintendo. But he finally, after months, opened up on Switch 2 because he had some exciting stuff to share. So, first we had a report from Nintenduo that had 6 different companies, supposedly, that's what they claim, that talked to them, 6 different development studios, that essentially said it's coming out in June. Okay, cool. Talked about that last week. Pretty cool. All right, June. Yeah, maybe. Sure, we don't know. June. Then Nate the Hate comes out. And he's like, okay, yeah, that June thing got him thinking. Hey, actually, that makes a lot of sense. Because he happens to know that at the moment, Nintendo is planning a Switch 2 event for May. And that the system is set to release either in late May or by the middle of June. So that lines up with the report of other developers talking to Nintenduo, a well-respected Spanish outlet, about it coming out in June. Now, I've been saying this whole time since the mass manufacturing stuff's been fairly solid for like the last few weeks. Like we've basically, last month really, we've kind of known that, yeah, this thing's probably a mass manufacturing, that it's almost impossible for this system to be a holiday next year. Will Nintendo need 20 million of these things for launch? I'm confused, right? Like, so I've been on it's first half no matter what. Now we have like the Zen Grip saying spring. We have obviously Nintenduo saying it's June coming out, which by the way, guys, spring, people don't think about the spring in the Northern Hemisphere runs through June 20th. Now, I know Japan is June 1st. I get it. Okay, for some reason, they're in the Northern Hemisphere where they go, nah, we're not going to be like every country around us. We're starting summer on June 1st. I get it. Okay. But they're an international company. They're not just worrying about their local place. And spring is being said by people that aren't in Japan. So they're probably just referencing their local place. Like the people who make the Satisfy grip, they're in the US. So bam, you got, they're going to go off US spring. All that stuff. The Nintendo, they're going to be going off, obviously, Spanish. It begins on the 21st, etc. It's based on an astrological event, if people didn't know why summer begins around June 20, June 21st. It's an astrological event. Anyways, almost every country recognizes that event except for Japan, apparently. They probably have their own history on why they start on June 1st for summer. That being said, that doesn't really matter. What matters is this May event. Now, he doesn't know what the event is. He speculates that it is probably like the January 2017 event. It's that big, here's everything, and then the system is out very shortly after. Because also he's heard about the system coming out by the end of May. So this kind of feels like maybe a beginning of May event, which is pretty... Because it's like fucking 5 months from like you realize like how soon that is? That's not that far, considering that he's not saying that's when it's revealed. He's saying that's the launch event. And he then went on to speculate. He doesn't seem to know, which is okay that he doesn't know. Or maybe he does and he doesn't want to put it down in stone because, he kind of got burned on that earlier this year, putting it in stone. What he essentially says, like, it's got to be revealed by the next investors meeting, which is February 4th. So that kind of lines up with other rumors we've had about it being revealed in January, which again, Nintendo already said it's being revealed by the end of March. So we know that reveal is coming. So what are the thoughts here? What are the thoughts? I've did a whole video on this. My audience knows what's up. For me, I want to know, how about what Mr. 2.7K subscriber base over there, Nick with no K, has to say?
Well, so just so I can clarify and just really get things clear. They're doing like a January Switch 1 2017 type presentation is the expectation, or not the expectation, but like the rumor for a reveal this January.
No.
And then, or is that what they're talking about in May?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about in May. January or like first week of February would be like the October.
Gotcha. So that's like the, hey, here's this thing.
Yeah, like
here's
the reveal.
A couple of the games that like we're gonna show off, like a couple of the big game, Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then in May, okay, that's gotta be a baller strategy by Nintendo to be like, here's this big presentation in May, and then bang, you are playing Switch. Something I kept in mind with thinking about, like, some people said late May for a release date, and I think that could also be advantageous because if I'm not mistaken, that is Golden Week in Japan. So, which would be a really ideal time to drop a new console in Japan because everybody's off work, everybody's out of school. They can spend a lot of time with this new system, go out, play some games. Also, in the US, that's right about when everyone starts getting out of school, Memorial Day weekend. You get the long weekend for the people who work, so then they can play the games. That might be like an ideal window too, because then you can be like, hey, new Switch console, new games. I'm take it or leave it.
I'm so excited.
Golden Week this year is April 29th to May 5th.
So beginning. So
it ends on my birthday.
Because I looked at it.
I could see them doing the event during Golden Week. That'd be crazy.
I could too, because we're trying to schedule, my lady and I, my 40th to go to Japan. And I was like, I don't think we should probably go on Golden Week. It might be like crazy for us to go during that time.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I told her, I was like, I'm more than willing to like not go during my birthday month even. Like I want Switch 2 in my hands on the plane. Okay. So if it comes out in June, I don't care. We go in June. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys know, like, a trip like that.
If I want to be on vacation, I want to be
Yeah.
rocking Switch 2 the whole
Yeah,
time.
I want Switch 2.
I want to be like
in
vacation,
Japan.
then Switch 2 comes out. Nah.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's why I looked into this though before. Is that I was also looking at that with Golden Week too, because I thought, I wonder if that would be a good time for them to launch it, right?
Also, because usually at that event that they did in January, they also had media behind the scenes go hands on. It's just interesting to note that for the first time in PAX East history, it is in May this year or next year, I should say. It's never been in May. It's always been April, March, never May.
Is it early May? Or is it like middle?
It's like middle May. It's like 8th to the 11th or something like that.
Oh, so like right after.
It could be
Golden
right
Week.
after, and all of a sudden you have a public hands-on heading right into like launching 2-3 weeks later. Like it's all kind of lining up that it makes a lot of sense.
I hate that it's lining up because the last time everything lined up was like in the fall. We were like, yes, this is it. And then there's like this great plan, and then nothing happened. And I'm like,
Well, to be fair, there really wasn't anything. It was just hopium that we just thought it made sense because Nintendo smashed all these events together, and PH Brazil was so confident it was coming out in March. And okay, cool, things change, right? But I just look, the moment that Nate the Hate said this, my initial reaction was, okay, I can give up on March now. I'm good on giving up on March. That's fine. Like not for reveal, but like just not coming out in March. That's fine. I was kind of already being like, well, maybe April. Okay, May's fine. June, as long as it's not the end of June, beginning, middle of June, if they want to get it out before Summer Game Fest, cool. They want to get it out right after Summer Game Fest because they want all the promotion from all these games that are coming to the system. Sure, cool. I get it. But I just look at this whole thing as, okay, this is starting to feel real now. We have the accessories. We have all the shipping data confirming that this thing's in mass production. We have Nintendo randomly deciding at an investors meeting to tell us detailed information about Switch 2 before they've even revealed the fucking thing. Why do we know features of the system before we've seen the system? Has that ever I don't think it's ever happened in Nintendo history. They're telling us exact functionality and features of the system before we actually have seen the system. It just doesn't make sense to me because Furukawa's a madman. He told us back in May that it would be revealed before the end of the fiscal year. And now we're sitting here. We're getting up to that last quarter, that last bit where it's going to be revealed in those 3 months. We have indie studios just straight up announcing their games are coming to Switch 2 just because they can. We have we have 3D prints being sent to YouTubers now from accessory makers. And now we have Nate the Hate deciding, you know what, now's the time I'm going to come out of the woodworks and be like, guys, you're all talking about reveals. Yeah, you're probably right. Reveals probably January, early Feb. Yeah. Also, you know what you really want? You want the fucking blowout. Let me tell you when that is. And now I'm fucking hyped. I don't know if I've ever stopped being hyped for Switch 2, but I go through these lulls where it's kind of like, all right. It's just going to be, we're just going to be talking about the same bullshit every day. Another accessory leak, another this. Oh, no, we're talking about an event. Now, all I need is a game leak. Can we get like a game leak, please? Like an actual, like not an indie game. Like, can I even get like a whiff that Elden Ring is coming? Like I get the Nintendo stuff probably won't leak. Unless Nate the Hate or someone, because he leaked Planet, Planet Robobot is coming to Switch next year. That's awesome. I'm really excited for that. That's one of the best Kirby games. I'm really glad it's coming to Switch. But, I don't know that he is going to hint or leak any sort of Switch like launch games or something like that for Nintendo. Maybe he doesn't know. But can we get some big AAA third-party leaks right now, baby?
Final Fantasy VII.
They leak for everything else. Yeah, dude, Final Fantasy VII being leaked for it would be huge. I mean, we might have Half-Life 3 leaked for the Game Awards tomorrow for crying out loud.
Final Fantasy 9 remake.
Yeah, there's a rumor out there. Valve is bringing the goods tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
Oh, Half-Life 3. Oh my God. Yes, I saw the rumors too, but it lines up with the idea of the Steam box.
But we'll see. but we'll see.
If you want to create some steam for the Steam box, you announce Half-Life 3, right?
True.
I mean,
It's the way to do it.
Dude. Okay. And I could just sit here and buzz for like 5 hours on this. Eric, is this feeling real for you yet?
God, let's sum it up with what the guy from Frozen said. Hoo-hoo, big summer blowout. Yeah, that's it. I just want it. I don't know what else to say. I just want it. Give me something, Nintendo. That I'll be satisfied. Just give me something. Jesus. Let me see it.
Sumro, how's it make you feel?
I like it. This feels like the most solid, because I put a lot of faith in PH Brazil, but I also, just because of that April direct claim, was always so half and half on but then he got all my faith back with multiple events getting, moved up. I'm like, okay, this is inside info for sure. And then I had a little bit of hope once again for like that one rumor from the Weeboo user who said January reveal, March launch.
I wanted that to be so true, so bad.
Glimmer of hope. I was like, maybe
there's some
maybe
hope.
that's
There's
the
some
thing.
hope with that, because like you want it to be true.
But I really started thinking about it, and I was like, if Nintendo has even more than one first-party game at launch for this system, I just can't see them having less than 3 months of marketing for it. And maybe, they can. There's nothing that says that they can't, but I just would be really surprised if they would compress all of that from a January to March window to launch everything. So I was starting to feel like, okay, it's going to still be first half of the year, because I like you have been following very closely all these shipping data reports. That it's funny that people like question these things when it's literally like public information that's out there that's like shows you can see how many units.
And if you guys don't know the website, I know the website now. Like I figured it out.
Like,
I know what website it's from.
The screens are you can see how many panels of and T239 specifically that Nintendo is getting into their warehouses.
You literally
right now.
see Nintendo on the order forms. I mean,
yeah. So things are happening, and then on their own financial report, the work in progress inventory is at a record high. It's never been this high.
Then Foxconn has a record high,
yes,
as well with their completed product number.
So like seeing all that stuff, I was starting to get back in the mindset of no way, even in the worst case scenario, this is not a holiday 2025 console. I really don't believe it ever was intended to be or would be. But yeah, hearing this from Nate, I like it because I'm hoping. I really am thinking it's gonna, even though I want it to be an early January reveal, I do think it'll be like an end of January reveal, and it might be
to the investors meeting,
right? Like a week before the investors meeting, and then that's just the first look trailer. Then they go silent for a while. A few months go by. We're at the beginning of May, and then that's when we get the blowout event.
It'll also help lessen the blow if the financial report isn't going to be like that good. Like if they missed their holiday targets,
they're probably going to have to come in there and say they didn't sell as much as they wanted to.
If we missed our holiday targets, it's okay because look what's coming.
That's right. Yeah. And I think they'll highlight software sales, and they'll probably even say, like, we strategically told our consumers that all of the Switch software will be playable on the next gen console, and we maintained good software performance while just dropping down lower than expectations on the Switch hardware sales. So I could see all that happening. And yeah, I'm really curious to see what kind of May event is planned. Like, is it a copy paste from the January thing, or do they do
giant
like
in-person event? Yeah.
Right, but is it that, or do they do like just a Nintendo Switch 2 Direct? Like literally, like here's all your questions answered. It's a digital presentation. Maybe they do have something set up for press and on hands and stuff like that. But maybe that's also the PAX East stuff, and then they have something else over there in Japan.
Like a worldwide tour event. They did that with Switch where they had like quick pop-ups for people to come try it.
Mm-hmm.
What if they do like that again?
Yeah. All that kind of stuff's on the table. But yeah, that May event sounds like that's going to be the big attraction, because that's when we get the, some detailed trailers of the launch games and kind of a little bit of a roadmap of what the launch is going to look like. And then do we still get the June Direct? Like that's going to be, kind of iffy that year, I guess. But,
and here's the thing, like at this point, I've kind of reserved that I kind of think most of these leaks are pretty accurate with like what the Switch 2 looks like. So I'm kind of good with like, okay, yeah, it's going to be, there's some things I don't know and some things I want to go hands on with, but it's just the games now, man.
Yep.
And that's
with
what even the reveal is going to bring games. We're going to see the launch game in the reveal trailer. It's going to be there.
The games, and the only one question I have left on the hardware is what does the display look like when you're holding it if it's not OLED? Because it is, I'm really curious on a side-by-side comparison to the OLED. Yeah, they could.
If it's LCD, please be laminated like the PlayStation Portal is. It made the screen look so much better.
Yeah,
please be.
And I'm thinking it will. I don't think it's going to be a day. It's definitely not going to be a Switch One screen. OG Switch One. It's not going to be that. So
please, I can't go back to that. I can't.
I couldn't imagine it after the OLED. That's the problem.
I know that the OLED looks nicer, and I know there'll be a Switch 2 OLED one day. I just give me something better than the original Switch screen.
Right.
Anything, even if it's just a layer of lamination, and that's all it is. I don't care. I can't go back. I was touching the OG Switch the other day because my fiance has it, Yulia, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so bad.
Yeah. It's actually day and night whenever you play it one next to the other. It really is.
It's just, dude, I feel like I'm playing on something from the 90s right now. I'm back at the CRT. What is happening? Like, this is not, and the thing is, I didn't complain. It's one of those, it's bliss when you don't know, right? Ignorance is bliss. Like Eric, he's been on the OG the whole time. Mm-hmm. So like, he hasn't really played a Switch OLED, game next to his.
Nope.
Now, does he know OLED looks a lot better? Of course he does, because he knows stuff about tech. But if he started playing his game on here and then went back to his, he'd be like, fuck. Mm. I'll still wait for Switch 2, but fuck. Damn, it is a lot better looking. That was one thing that was really cool because I got the OLED like a week early, and that was one of the biggest videos I did was of people just seeing the difference and how the games look. Like, they don't play different. It's not about what they play like. It's what it feels and looks like when you're playing. It is night and day, just night and day with the colors and everything. Anyway, so I know. Okay, going back to LCD, fine, but be better. Please don't be the cheap dog shit LCDs. Please be better than that. I know they're going to be cheap. I just don't be the cheapest. Please.
Here's a question I just thought of as we were talking about like a January reveal, right? If they reveal it in January, do we then still get a February Nintendo Direct? And if we do get a February Direct, do they start showing Switch 2 games now that they've announced that it's coming, and they can say, here's like not necessarily anything massive that would be in the May event, but you could start like trickling some third-party stuff in there.
I think it's going to be so. PH Brazil has already started teasing there's going to be some sort of direct in February, which isn't a surprise, right? It's a normal direct month. He's kind of leaning towards it being like a third-party one, but he doesn't know. I think what will happen if they announce the Switch 2 before that direct is I think it's still going to mostly be like a Switch Direct, kind of like just kind of, hey, let's line up our games heading up to Switch 2's launch. So like, hey, here's your your April, your May, your June Switch games or whatever, third party or otherwise. But I think one thing they're going to do, because Switch 2 has been announced at that point, is they can also talk about if there's enhancements for the new system and what that is like. Because Nintendo did say they have to explain something about backwards compatibility to us, and they will explain it to us at a later date. And what that something is, people are presuming, okay, backwards compatibility is pretty obvious, right? You put your Switch cartridge in, you play the game. You download your game, you play it. Backwards compatibility is pretty straightforward. It works just like your current Switch. So what do you have to explain? Unless there's something else. And that could be maybe when that explanation comes. They explain that something else in that direct while still only really being about Switch 1 games.
It's possible. See, I think if it's a partner direct, then it's all Switch 1 focused. But if it's a mainline direct, maybe with like one first party title like Endless Ocean, like we saw that happen last year. But if it's a mainline direct, but then at that point, I think it's maybe not the most overwhelming direct with a bunch of Switch 2 games in February, but the show closers, the 3D Mario or something like that. Like that's what I think. Like, I think we get the rest of the launch lineup for, the rest of the cycle of Switch 1 releases leading into Switch 2, but then the show closers 3D Mario. Imagine. I could see something like them. That's their one more big thing. I don't know though. I'm not getting my hopes up on anything until I see what kind of. I might
cry the moment we see 3D Mario. There might be a tear.
I can't wait for it.
I can't. that team, the magic they do every goddamn time. Dude,
And
go back and look at Galaxy 1 and 2 on Wii and just like they did that on fucking Wii. What the fuck are they gonna do now? This
Yep.
is I'm gonna that team, dude. Some of Nintendo's teams just make magic happen. I'm gonna feel the same way when they show Zelda for the first time in a couple of years. Like the first Monolith soft game and what they can do now that they have some real power to do what they are. They're the team that I always felt like we're limited by the power. Okay, so a lot of those limits are gone now. What the fuck are you going to do? I can't wait to see what that company does. The next Xenoblade and what that could look like, or whatever that, maybe the new IP that they've been working on for a while. Oh man, so, Thunderstash, what are you feeling about this stuff?
As far as the release date with June, I mean, I can get behind that. I don't see why not. I think summer's good. You know, if you look back in the history, the GBA launched in June.
Yeah.
June 11th. The GBA did very well. It was as iterative as it gets. You know, Game Boy Advance. Nintendo to Super Nintendo. Switch to Switch 2. I could see that. Would I like it sooner? Sure.
Yeah,
But I could definitely see June.
Also, that's still in their first fiscal quarter. So it's still like kind of at Nintendo's beginning of their financial year. And it allows it because it's probably going to sell out, right? Like, all new devices, even Wii U sold out, right? So it's probably going to sell out. It also allows them to have 2 sellout periods in the first, even calendar year. You have that and then holiday.
Yeah.
So, and did they put Mario Kart in holiday?
I think Mario Kart
that should be the
And
That
holiday.
would be a
3D Mario.
sick holiday game.
is coming out within that launch window, which, again, Nintendo's launch window is 6 to 9 months. So I expect one at launch and one as the big holiday game. Which one it is, I don't know. I would presume
It'll be
It
a
would be-
holiday bundle already.
it would be 3D Mario at launch, right? But it could be Mario Kart. They've never done that. The closest they came was Switch 1. And again, it was never planned that way, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. It should be really interesting.
Just
As far
wild.
as those LCD screens, I was like just reading up on some of the advancements, right, that have been made in LCD tech
Mhm.
since the Switch 1. I think we still get a really nice screen without going over all these details. I think we still get a very nice screen, and if for some reason it's not, there's always other alternatives. I'm sure you guys have seen like the OLED Switch Lite, right?
Yep.
Yeah. There's ways you can customize.
So
anything.
yeah, you know, if you really want to customize,
give it like a
you
month,
can.
there'll be some third party OLED screen you can already buy for it. And
Exactly.
dude, I'm gonna have to do that. World's first OLED Switch 2. Oh boy, you guys should know that since I had the Switch OLED early, I broke that one. I was trying to confirm something and I broke it and made a whole video on it. And everyone called me a dumbass, and I'm saying, "Yep, sure am." I did not have the proper stuff to take the screen off. I knew it. I knew it was gonna break. I literally knew it when I did it on live stream. I'm like, "This is gonna break," and it's broken. Well, still works in dock mode. Anyways, yeah, I literally broke it on. I knew it was. I'm like, God, I just do not have the right stuff for this. I used to work at a repair shop, so like they had the right. You don't even need that much. It's basically some heat, and it maybe a little bit of picks, and then you just use like a suction gun. It's really not that hard, but I don't know. I just for some reason couldn't go to Walmart. That being said, I think we could probably wrap that up there. There's just so much we could talk about with Switch 2, and a lot of it at this point, there's going to be more leaks and rumors and stuff that happen. Obviously, the rumors I want to start hearing about our games. We do have the Game Awards coming up. The Game Awards has not happened at the time of this show, so that's why we kind of avoided talking about that, because literally anything we talk about, it's irrelevant less than 24 hours later. So it was no point in really diving into that. There's obviously the potential that technically this conversation's irrelevant and Switch 2 gets teased at the Game Awards. Very, very low chance, but Furukawa's a mad lad. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's cooking. So who the hell knows? He did say there would be phases to the Switch 2, and maybe that's phase 1. Little tease there. January full reveal. Big event in May. I don't know. Maybe that's what he's doing. There's people that predict that Nintendo may not even reveal the system there, but there'll be like a little 10-second thing, and it's just the new logo. And all of a sudden, it's just dropped in every fucking third-party trailer.
I like that idea.
That would be wild. There, you're not even showing the system. You're just, here's the name.
It would be so nice to have a logo before we watch all these other third-party games get unveiled that we have to speculate on whether or not they're headed to Nintendo
The
Switch
entire
2.
show, literally, because me, Stash, and Eric are going to be streaming it together. Literally, every big AAA third-party game they're going to show, the number one question is going to be, so you think this is on Switch 2?
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
Like, please be on Switch 2. You're on Switch. Oh, that's definitely a Switch 2 footage.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think we're going to see a lot of that, actually.
So, like, it would be nice if Nintendo would do a solid and, like, drop a little teaser logo at, like, the beginning of the show. It would, or even before the show, Nintendo, you want to one-up them and announce the logo during the day? I'm cool with that. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're getting anything Switch 2 tomorrow unless third parties are being wild and putting Nintendo logos in all their games because they can't put the Switch 2 logo. They start doing the Yuka Replay thing. Hey, coming to PS5, Xbox, and Nintendo. Like,
yep.
That could happen, by the way, guys. That would be technically Switch 2 news in the middle of the Game Awards. That
trailer is still up.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It would need to show all those Nintendo logos and then just cut to Doug Bowser's face every time, and just like see what he's looking like.
I would laugh. I would laugh.
That would be good.
Dude, I would laugh if with the Nintendo logo and then they cut to Doug Bowser just to see.
Yeah.
Like, is he shocked that that's happening?
Yeah.
Or is he just grinning because he just knows? That would be hilarious. If they never cut to Doug Bowser, if a Nintendo logo pops up like that's clearly Switch 2 and they never cut to Doug Bowser, like, dude, the cameraman needs to be fired. Who's ever in the back of the Switch room? Come on.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a beautiful moment just to see if he's shocked.
Seriously.
Because everyone wants to know, is Nintendo mad that Nintendo logos are popping up like this? Or do they just not give a shit? Because it's copyright logo, by the way. You can't just freely use their copyright logo. I know you might go, but you use it in thumbnails. Yeah, and Nintendo can contact me and tell me to stop anytime. It's theirs. So, like, and these are businesses selling a product. So, like, pretty wild. Anyways, so there could be Switch 2 stuff in it. We obviously don't know at this point. But yeah, that's just like a minor note. It's kind of like the last time that there's any even like minute hope of a Switch 2 anything would be the game. I can't foresee them announcing anything afterwards before Christmas. So anyway, so there's that. And by the way, for those that hold out the hope, it's only because Furukawa still couldn't just say, oh yeah, we'll talk about it in the last quarter of our fiscal year. Nope, still had to say, nope, sometime this fiscal year. Oh, hey, we don't think it'll hurt holiday sales if we do. Can you just shut up? You're either revealing it in the last part of the fiscal year or you're not. Can we just clarify this? Stop beating around the bush, Furukawa. You could just ease everyone's mind for months. It was just like one word. No, we're gonna keep you thinking it's happening every day. That's just. I think he might be having a little fun with it at this point. I think he's enjoying the speculation and people just like, is it going to be at the Game Awards? I don't know, but keep the conversation going and keep hyping our system. That being said, before we end the show and we tell people what we got going on, where they can find us, this will be a quick, real easy revisit next week. One thing for the Game Awards. Let's assume Nintendo is showing something tomorrow. Let's each make one quick prediction on what that something is.
It's Metroid for me.
Yeah, it's just, someone's gonna take the obvious.
But it's the safest prediction I know. But it's really the only thing that I can think of. There's no DLC that's really makes any sense for Nintendo to announce for any of their first party stuff. That would be another safe bet. What's the DLC?
Well, not DLC wise. Sorry.
Okay, I was saying DLC. As far as one that would make sense in my opinion, because they have a track record of releasing DLC there. That's obviously the biggest thing that they've done, other than promote Breath of the Wild.
They promoted Fire Emblem Engage there too.
True, but DLC for Fire Emblem Engage as well, right?
Yeah.
Didn't they reveal that like spin-off Bayonetta game?
Yes,
yeah,
Bayonetta Origins.
Yep, that was revealed there.
So,
and obviously, if you go all the way back, you have to talk about Breath of the Wild and stuff.
I watched somebody's video, and this might be what you were about to say, but somebody said Astral Chain 2 or something like that. It might have been Andres. But I mean that might make sense. But no, for me, it's Metroid, and it's literally a coin toss, and if it's like a Prime 2 or 3 combo pack announcement, or one or the other, who knows if they're doing together or apart. But I think it's got to be together just because of the timing of it all. Or it's a Prime 4 updated trailer. Like, it's one of those two things is what I'm thinking.
All right. Remember, guys, we're going on the presumption for those listening that there is going to be an announcement because we don't know.
Yeah, there might be nothing.
But we're just going to say, okay, Nintendo is showing at least one thing.
I'm currently 0-2 on Game Awards predictions for this specific franchise. And you know what? I'm feeling like going 0-3. Unless Nintendo wants to prove me wrong. Not Twilight Princess. Wind Waker HD for Switch.
Let's go.
They finally drop it. I don't know if it's a shadow drop this month or if they're gonna put it out like February of next year, April. I don't know where they're gonna slot it. Maybe they do. They would do it now because I started playing Wind Waker on the Wii U. And they would do it now.
I got one.
Now that
I'm changing what I was going to say. I got one.
So that's mine. Wind Waker HD finally for Switch.
All right, I'm going to throw this out here. So you go to Wind Waker. I'm gonna let Nintendo be a mad lad. Miyamoto's there in person. Walks out on stage. Right? They just announced like the family award. Echoes of Wisdom was there. Like, oh, why is he on stage? Like, Echoes of Wisdom, it's probably not even winning the award, right? So it's probably going to Astrobot, right? So like, what is going on? Miyamoto pulls the Master Sword out the back. Twilight Princess 4K trailer drops. No, we don't know that it's 4K at the time, but it's like a remaster remake of Twilight Princess, and they kind of remade the original reveal trailer. Even though half of that shit's not even in the game, but you know what I mean, and everyone's looking at this like, and they don't put anything at the end. They don't put a Switch logo. They don't nothing, and they just leave it at that.
That
would
be awesome.
And that's Nintendo being a mad lad. Hey, we already said the system's coming. Say what it is. Clearly, probably Switch. But is it, or is it both? Is it Switch backwards compatibility? Is that too good for Switch? It's going to be a debate. And they would, the internet would go wild. Internet would go wild, especially if it looks anything like the Wii U tech demo. The internet would just fucking go insane. Anyways, wild prediction. And then involved Miyamoto, so it's probably not happening. By the way, Miyamoto is used for promotional reasons everywhere. It'd be trying to recreate that E3 moment. I'm desperate for E3 2004 moment all over again, but you know. It'll probably never happen, but it would be cool. It would be cool to watch him pull the Master Sword, unsheath it, swing it on stage, and then his Twilight Princess, remake. That'd be sick. Eric, you got one?
You know what? Screw it. Let's just go with they reveal the logo so that people can actually use it in their reveals.
Someone went there.
Why not?
Someone went there. Switch 2 logo reveal, baby. That's what I really want. I mean, I really want just a reveal the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
That's what I really want. But I'm trying to be like, all right, if they show anything, what would it? Okay, a logo. I could take that.
Or give us a date of when they're gonna. In 3 months, we'll announce something.
No,
because that would be a Nintendo thing to do.
I mean, look, if I'm going to go real wild, I want it to be a reveal trailer, and then at the end it says coming March 2025, and then all these rumors are wrong, and I'm just fucking ecstatic and bouncing off the fucking ceiling.
Imagine.
Just be like, Nate the hate. Yeah, what you heard is bullshit. We fed bullshit to third parties. So we fed the real shit to the accessory makers. Twist of fate there. Thunderstash, you got one?
Yeah, I think the most likely thing that will happen is we'll probably get an announcement of Wave Race coming up.
Fuck yeah, man.
Nice.
I think
That would
that's
be
the
so
most
awesome.
obvious, right?
There you go.
That's the most obvious.
Yeah, obviously.
No, for real though, Metroid is what I've always thought.
It's like it can't be
I think-
Donkey Kong now because they just dropped the trailer. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Donkey
Well,
Kong.
We have to start up the marketing for
Mhm.
Metroid, and people need time to play it. Okay, so I think this is a great time to do it. It's a great time to remind people about Metroid and reach a large audience. And I do think that a Metroid Prime 4 updated trailer makes a ton of sense as well, because you have to remind people why Metroid Prime 2 is coming out now, because we're getting you ready for part 4. Here's an updated trailer. So I think that is a really good option. The Wind Waker Twilight Princess deal, I have not given up on that. I will never give up on it.
no one's gonna give up till it finally happens
Yeah.
one day
Yep.
in our
I
lives.
think it's going to happen one
It
day.
will happen.
And I don't see why it couldn't happen here. And the only other game that I could see, I just don't know if the time's right, but I know it's going to get announced at some point. That's Galaxy 2. I expect Galaxy 2 HD at some point.
Sure.
Mario Day next year, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd be a great time to do it.
Well, we'll revisit all this next week just to see if any of us, and it's probably Metroid's like the most realistic, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe my Twilight Princess dream comes true. I called it. You heard it here first. That'd be fucking wild. All right. To get to some of these Q&A things quickly, Devin Knox for $5 said 100% pure Colombian cocaine. Activision drops Prototype 3. That would be pretty sick. It's
Nice.
probably not happening, but Prototype's good. It's good. I like that franchise. Jimzo said for a couple of dollars on possible Persona 6 announcement for the Switch 2. People want it.
Yeah.
People want that. Yeah.
Give me Persona 6, man.
Yeah, dude. Imagine that's in the reveal trailer. That would be nice.
I heard, I don't know if it was rumors or just like pure speculation, but we could see Persona 6 tomorrow at the Game Awards. Just
Yeah,
because,
there's a few rumors out there.
now that Metaphor is out of the way,
I mean,
that would be the next big Atlas game, assuming they're not
Yeah.
remaking like Persona 4.
and setting aside Nintendo, like every journalist is hyping this up like it's the biggest game awards ever for reveals. So
Better, it's a 10-year anniversary. You only get 10 years once.
go all out. We're
I
finally in
agree.
the heyday of PS5 where like we're getting things actually made for next gen now. So
Yep.
I've been expecting a big game show because of that 10th anniversary. I don't think Keeley like takes that lightly. The accomplishment of making it 10 years when a
Yeah,
lot of people
he-
probably didn't think he would at all.
yes, some people didn't think it'd make 10 years. So
Yeah, I think he really wants to make this special. So I'm expecting actually some pretty good announcements
it's gonna be
tomorrow.
sick. Both Kojima games probably getting shown. I'm just throwing that out there right now. He's making one for Sony and Xbox. I'm just saying.
Yeah, probably right about that.
All right. Yeah, he's probably gonna take up 30 minutes of the show. Get ready, guys. Like, I love Kojima, but like he's a little biased on the time he gets compared
yeah.
to literally everyone else. This one's for Sunbro. Wants to know, Sunbro, where'd you get those clear cabinets?
Oh yes, I answered this in chat earlier when I saw it, but yeah, it is IKEA. I think they're pronounced Detolf shelves, and they probably I googled it because I knew it was like similar to that wording, and it seems like from what I saw, IKEA is not sourcing these exact same ones, but you can find almost identical ones to them from IKEA, and they're just a glass shelf, like very much made for collectibles. They don't come with the lighting system. Those are all just LED strips that I ran on the inside of them and have like them all plugged into a power strip behind. So
I have those shelves.
you do? Nice.
You see where my finger's pointing right
I do.
there?
I see
The
it. Yeah, I
reflection?
can tell. Mhm.
There's two to the left, and I love those shelves, by the
Yes,
way.
very
I
nice shelves.
totally endorse them. Very nice. Good price. Yep, good stuff.
Yeah, a little bit scary to put together because you're putting giant glass things upright.
Yeah.
Have somebody help you out for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have tile like I do throughout the house, like make sure you put something soft down as your work area.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah, luckily we had a big carpet rolled out on our hardwood floor, but there would have been a struggle without the carpet there.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't very fun to put together because dude, if anything drops, man, you're screwed.
Yes, and I'm worried. I haven't had to move them since I built them either. So I'm hoping. I'm not anticipating going anywhere anytime soon. But I cannot imagine moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I have 8 of those shelves. So yeah,
Yeah, that would not be fun. Oh my god. Hope you don't have to move.
yeah.
You're in your forever home, right?
More, yeah. It's looking like. I mean, we thought we might upgrade one day, and I think we're here forever.
All because you bought those shelves. All right.
Yeah.
Super Gaming. Are you guys going to visit the Donkey Kong Country Super Nintendo World?
Yes,
I want to.
one day.
Absolutely.
Is it opening day 1 in Orlando? I think it is.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
is.
Yes,
I
it
believe
is.
so. Yeah. My plans to check it out in Orlando, hopefully later this year, but it'll be towards the end of the year.
Trying to figure out how I'm going to get to Epic Universe next year because I really want to go. Mainly just for the Nintendo stuff, but also I haven't done a bunch of the Universal stuff, so I'd love to go do that. But I will probably get to the Orlando one before I get to the Japan one.
Sure. Yeah, I plan to go eventually. I mean, I'd like to get there next year after it opens. We'll see if that works out. But either way, I'll get there eventually. I love theme parks. I'm also, literally medically losing weight now because I have to. So, I'll be able to go on all the rides. That's what I really care about. I'll go on the rides and not be restricted. So that'll be nice. So it's gonna be pretty fun. I'll hopefully get to go before the end of next year. Let's see here.
I am
Nope.
planning on going, by the way. But I think,
No, you're
I
not
think
allowed
everyone
to go.
knows that.
You're not allowed to go.
Yeah, I'm planning to go to the Japan one.
Japan one, yeah. You just talked about
Nice.
you going to Japan, so yeah.
But if I find myself in Florida, there could be a couple of reasons why I go to Florida.
Just a couple.
Yeah, that are work related actually. And
Okay.
I would definitely go.
And while you're there,
Dude, there's no way. I've never been to Florida, so there's no way I'm gonna go there
the
And
theme
not-
park's rocking.
and not go to the
Florida.
theme park. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Florida's
the-
sick. I was just there a couple weeks ago.
It's very. I can't live there, but it's so fun to visit.
Mhm.
It really is.
yeah, I've heard
Um,
great things.
All right, so the last one we have here is it'll launch June 2nd. Switch to June 2nd.
Yeah.
Hold on, what day? What day of the week?
I was
is
gonna
it?
say I'm pulling up my calendar.
It's
too.
a Monday. It's a Monday. It would have to
Oh.
be the 5th.
Yeah, say they're
No,
a Thursday
no.
team now.
Nintendo, go crazy. Drop it on a Monday.
Sure.
Say
Sure.
freak it, we ball.
Fuck it.
Drop it right there.
Fuck it. You drop it on a Monday, and then you have a brand new game drop that Thursday.
Yep, easy.
Double launch week.
They used to always do their launches on Sunday.
Yeah,
You
they
remember that?
changed it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they changed everything so
That's
many
right.
different days over the years. Now it's Thursday. They clearly
I-
changed that to set up Switch 2, and I don't know why the Thursday, but sure.
Can I air a really quick grievance? I do not like that they moved their launch days to Thursday. I actually think it's worse because like Mario and Luigi Brothership, right? Super excited to play it. When picked it up Thursday, I still had to go back to work on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like when it drops on Friday and then I've got all Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, and like get good 3 days in. No, I got to go back to work on Friday. I didn't even bother starting it Thursday.
But
'cause I
those
was like, "Oh, I'm
4-day
just gonna
launch
wait."
sales look good on the stat sheet.
I know.
Yep.
That's probably why they did it. Get an extra day on the sales charts. They see what they're saying is you're not a big enough Mario and Luigi fan. True fans took off on Thursday and Friday.
That's true.
You're like you can't say there's not certain franchises. You would have just been like, okay, yeah, I'm taking Thursday and Friday.
I mean, if it was like Tears of the Kingdom, I'd be
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm
we're
saying.
taking
Like, yeah.
Friday off.
It's
but
a big new brand new 3D Zelda. Ain't a problem. Thank you for the extra day to play it early.
I always use PTO if the game is big enough. Always.
Same. I always did too.
Yeah.
I
But
would
yeah, obviously
genuinely
frustrating
think
for the
about it.
other games where you pick it up Friday after work and then hey, I get to play this a little bit
Yeah.
tonight and then tomorrow. That is nice. Whereas you pick it up on Thursday, it's like, oh, I just booted up the intro area and now I'm fucked until Saturday. Have a good
I'm going to bed because I got to go up for work tomorrow.
yeah. or the game is so damn good. Oh man,
It does make me feel less bad about ordering
Sir,
online.
I got a cold. Dude, it's July 4th. Yeah. Maybe it's COVID. I don't know. Let's see here. We had another super chat coming quick here for $4.99 saying from Chris Howell says, I'd like to see either Link to the Past HD or Link Between Worlds HD review.
That would be excellent.
Yeah.
Either
Worlds
one of
is
those.
such a good game.
Yeah, and with Echo of Wisdoms being there, that'd be sick.
Either
Mhm.
one would be
Hey.
great. Link to the Past HD would be like a dream.
Yeah.
My
That
two
would a-
favorite
that would-
Zeldas is
that would
Link to the
actually-
Past and Ocarina of Time. So
Yeah, it would break
Yeah.
the internet if it was linked to the Past HD. I
Because
would
no
take
one-
either one happily, though.
Yeah, no one would even see it coming.
Mm-mm.
I'd
Is
be
that-
like, A Link Between Worlds, sure, they've been doing 3DS ports, right? But A Link to the Past?
Yep.
fully
And that-
orchestrated soundtrack.
Oh,
That would be
don't
more
even.
in the remake, like complete remake department as well. It's
At
not
that
just
point,
a port
yeah.
from the 3DS, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it really would. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
Would
nice.
love to see it.
Hell yeah, dude. Anything Zelda, to be honest with that.
Yep.
Yeah, that one would be surprising because no one expects it.
We'll get it someday.
All right, let's go around the room and let people know what we got going on, where they can find us, and if we want to tease any upcoming content. We'll start with Nick with No K, who I guess just more than doubled in subs since what? Next time you on, you're going to be a 10,000 sub channel now?
I don't know. I sure could. I looked at my metrics yesterday, and like if I keep growing at the way I'm going, I'll hit 3K before the end of the year.
Hell
So,
yeah!
Nice.
Heck yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
like I'm borderline 2.8. This video I put out today should be 2.8. But aside from that, I am putting out
Funny.
YouTube content not every week. I'm switching to a bi-weekly schedule because it was just getting to be too much.
Yeah.
But I am usually talking about anime. That's like my niche
Mhm.
is anime, just talking about it, whatever I feel like talking about. But I have started recently streaming on Twitch. Right now I'm playing through Doom Eternal. But I did just finish playing through Twilight Princess HD, and I'd never played through Twilight Princess before. So that is all out there. You can watch me play through the game start to finish, give my review at the end. So yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Nick with No K, and on Twitch also Nick with No K, but the underscores are a little funky. So, but that is
Monkey Town.
Nick with No K everywhere pretty much. So pretty simple.
All right, some Pro Nation. Might as well throw this comment.
Yeah, we gotta acknowledge our super chats real quick. Red Head Redemption achievement unlocked. Let's go. Hey, if we get Red Dead Redemption 2 tomorrow, confirmed for Switch 2 after the reveal. No. Hey, listen, us redheads are about 4% of the population. We're very rare. I do think we deserve our own achievement unlocks when we walk into a room. You know, I mean, only 4% of the population. So I think an achievement sound should go off when we walk into a room. Yeah, so I got really similar content, news, rumors, leaks, all that stuff to Nintendo Prime. So if you enjoy his videos, feel free to check mine out. About six a week is what I aim for. Occasional live streams, not very often. I will be live streaming the Game Awards tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. All probably 3.5 hours of the showcase. Not expecting a whole lot in the way of Nintendo, but hopefully we're wrong about that. So we'll see how all that stuff goes. But yeah, news, leaks, rumors, and just kind of, thoughts and opinions on you'll normally get one topic videos out of me in general. So
All right, Eric, the best ever uncle.
I'm here. That's pretty much it.
You
And then
guys better be
random
calling him
stuff
Uncle
here.
Eric from now on. I better chat next week. I better hear Uncle Eric. Sure. I'm technically an uncle too, but you call me uncle, I'll reach through that screen and I don't even know. Shake your hand.
Yeah.
Thunderstash.
So I got a handful of things I'm working on. Of course, Metaphor. I'm like 50 hours in, but that also means I'm only like around halfway through. So it's a long game. I'm really enjoying it, so I'm going to go for the platinum. Okay, so this is where I'm at, guys. This is the Atari VCS,
Mm-hmm.
and I've done some work on it. I installed the additional memory. It's got 32 gigs now. I installed the 1 terabyte SSD. I got Windows installed on it. So now it boots directly to Windows. I got Emulation Station Desktop Edition installed. I got a lot of stuff going on. I got the retro achievements going, but I'm still doing some tweaking. So a video will be coming soon on that. I want to make sure that it's firing on all cylinders and I give out some good information. Next, finally, the Mario Kart DLC for Larmo has been announced. So I'm going to open this up. My lady's been dreading this. She's like, please don't use this in the room. I'm like, where else am I going to use it?
It's horrible for two people in the same.
Dude, I'm so excited. It's going to be so funny. So I'm really excited about that. Then I had backed this controller on Kickstarter. And really, it was because I want to be able to use it as well with Switch 2. So I'm going to be doing a review on this. This is the 8-Bito Genki. You guys know Genki?
Oh,
Yeah,
I do know
this is their
Genki.
collaboration. It's the Pocket Pro. And I love the design of the controller, but I was looking forward to using this on like multiple devices, like the Atari VCS, but also for the Switch 2. So we'll be working on that. And then I finally got in the Nitro Deck Plus. Just got delivered today. So I have a Nitro Deck. This is the Nitro Deck Plus. There's a whole list of things that they did to improve it that I'll go over in my video. But one of it is you can dock it directly. Like you can go into docked mode directly from it without releasing it, undocking it. So I can play docked mode directly to my TV. So that'll be interesting. I got a really good deal Black Friday. End up getting it for like $47. Normally goes for $99. So steal. So yeah, a lot of stuff. Again, I'm putting in a lot of hours on Metaphor, guys. Like I said, I did like 14, 15 hours on Monday.
Yeah. Wow.
I know. It was a lot. I paid for it the next day. I was so tired.
I bet you were. Oh man. Yeah. I don't miss the tiredness I felt diving into the games like that. I've avoided Metaphor.
So good,
I avoided it because I knew it would be a life sucker.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if I can afford the hours right now to it.
At least
Maybe.
it's not like a permanent one, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's not. And here's the thing: like you're obviously doing for like review purposes. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like me. Like I just play it over. Like if I got that game, I'm playing it for like 6 months. It is what it is. I'm just gonna play it, a couple hours every day or something.
It's so hard to get a review out like in a timely manner because I'm not getting it a month early.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
people who got the codes got it a month early, which that's what you need.
Yeah, for a game
So,
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is what it is. That's life. I'm
Yep.
enjoying it.
That's all that matters.
Yep.
All right, guys. You guys know what's up with me. I'm Nintendo Prime, but I don't really want to promote my channel. It is what it is. It's Switch 2 stuff all the time at this point until they actually reveal the damn thing. And then we finally, hopefully, get to talk games. Sorry, guys. I didn't drop a video on the new Donkey Kong Country HD trailer. I'm not even buying the game. So what do you want me to do? All right. There's nothing new about it. It's just in HD. And they even maybe mess with the visuals a little, not so great. So it's just not even interesting to me. So I'm good. I don't need to buy it for the third time. That being said, I mean, look, unless I find like a really cool clearance deal at Target for $5, all right, I'll throw it, just to have it. But that being said, I am just going to talk about the podcast. Hey, we have everywhere audio is, it goes up. I've been a little bit late getting the audio up. The last 2 weeks, I actually put it up a full week late. I'm going to make sure this audio actually gets up to the day after the day of the Game Awards. This will be out. So if people want to hear those predictions audio-wise before the Game Awards show tomorrow, you'll have a chance to do that. And I also want to make sure that I shout out our podcast clips channel because I am going to be getting out a podcast clip tomorrow from this show. I know it's been a bit since I've been getting clips out, guys. Holiday season comes up. Very, very busy. You guys are even noticing I'm not even getting videos out on my channel the last couple of days. Even the last couple of weeks, it's been kind of in and out with the videos. It's not because there's not stuff to talk about. Hell, there's stuff we talked about tonight on this podcast with Switch 2 I haven't even made videos on. So, like, there's just a lot going on. But I'm looking forward to getting the clips going. I'm looking forward to get a video out tomorrow. Maybe multiple tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Depends on how the day goes. But, hey, I'm really excited to be here. I hope you guys are excited as well. Check out the podcast clips channel. Probably the first thing we'll put out, just on the off chance Switch 2 is announced tomorrow. I'll probably put the Switch 2 topic out first tomorrow. I just want to hedge my bet just in case. Just in case. Because that conversation starts to become really irrelevant once it's revealed. So, all right, guys. That's going to do it. You guys can find links to everyone's channels. I know the mods are putting them in the chat as well. You can find links to them in the description. Thank you guys so much for being here. That is episode 33 of the Nintenbyte Podcast. We'll be back. Yes, same time next week. I had to make sure because technically Christmas, we're doing it a day later. So I'd be like, hey, not the same. Anyway, same time next week. Peace out, everyone.
Have a good night.